So, good evening, guys. Welcome back. It's that time again, the TG podcast. Monday, of course, we're talking everything Arsenal. We're going through the result against Brighton, the 1-1 draw. Lots of controversy in the game. We're going to get into that as well. We're going to talk about the UCL draw because we do know who we're going to be playing, guys, in the new Champions League format. We're talking about, of course, the transfer window has officially closed. Arsenal have made their business. We're going to be rating the window and talking about that and going through the players we've signed. And also, we're talking about a little bit about our new signing. He's been injured. He's out for reportedly 2 months. So we're going to talk about that as well. We're joined by, of course, regulars today. We've got Rory. We've got Dom. We are missing Seb again. He will be here. He said he's coming at 8:15. But you know what it's like on these podcasts, yeah. Dom and Seb. And I'm sure this one's going to be very, very fiery as well, because we know Seb's thoughts on Edu Gaspar, and I can't wait to get his thoughts about the transfer window. But Dom,
he's
Rory,
getting a new contract today, isn't he?
yeah. how you guys doing, man? You all good?
Oh, I'm still seething about the result. I'm telling you, I'm going in mother's life.
Oh, Dom, you seething?
I mean, how can you not be? It changed the game. But other than that, I'm well. Other than the Arsenal result at the weekend, all is good.
All good, man. All good. Guys, also big up the chat as well. Make sure you leave your comments down below. Let me know your ratings of the transfer window as well, and also your thoughts on the weekend's result and everything we discussed today. Please leave your comments down below. And thank you so much, everyone, tuning in today, as always. But let's get into it, guys. We're going to start, of course, going back to the weekend. Arsenal 1, Brighton 1, dropping points at home. I thought after a very sort of controlling first sort of 20 minutes or so, I thought it was going really well. And obviously, yeah, we did eventually get that goal, and, we took the leads, all going well. And then, yeah, second half happens. Declan Rice gets sent off out of nowhere. And me and Rory was doing the watch-on together, and we was shocked. We was like, "What's going on here?" At first, I thought,
yeah, I know you're choking on your drink as well. I wasn't even paying attention.
I was like,
I looked to my screen. Been sent off.
Yeah, and then out of nowhere, we just see Declan Rice face shocks out of nowhere, and he gets a second yellow card, and he gets sent off. Of course, we know what happened there, because he got a slight touch to the ball. And then, of course, that Veltman guy decided to kick him, and, he got nothing for that. But
even the commentator was shocked. Like, seriously. I mean, the commentator was like, "It looks like a yellow card for Veltman here." Oh, it's Rice. He's off. And you could just hear the shock in his voice.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And, we're going to discuss about that and, the thoughts on that. And obviously, by the way, originally, Havertz get another goal. Great goal for him. And, I thought he needed it in the game as well. And that's what he can do, is turn up like that. I thought it was great movement for him as well, to score that goal. Great finish over the top to put us in front. And, yeah, I think, we got to say, like, the red card changes the game at the end of the day. It completely changed the game. And Brighton, of course, as expected, had that confidence boost because we're down to 10 men. And then they started going for it. And, yeah, for that second half, it was all Brighton, if we're being honest. I know we had a few chances as well ourselves, but, they got an equaliser. I did think it's quite poor defending from our point of view for their equaliser. Of course, João Pedro scoring for them. But, yeah, a 1-1 draw. I'll come to you, Dom, first. How are you feeling, firstly, about, the result and, of course, the whole refereeing decision for the whole Declan Rice situation as well, man?
I mean, I don't know if you want to talk about the Rice incident separately to the rest of the game. But obviously that was a pivotal moment in the game. You can see when you look at the stats and the eye test, it changed it from being 90% Arsenal to 90% Brighton. I've slightly invented those numbers, but you could see the field tilt completely change. And for me, it's not to send things off, but overall thoughts on the game. You're absolutely right. The goal we conceded, whether you got 10 men or not, was soft. Our centre backs are too far apart. Partey's not tracked the run. I don't put any blame on Raya. He's made a good save. And if Partey tracks that run or the centre backs are closer, the shot either doesn't happen and the rebound certainly doesn't happen. Apart from that, actually, I thought we were defensively very solid. I actually think once we settled after that goal, the equaliser, I actually thought we played really, really well. You're playing a very good team in Brighton. And while they dominated the play, I didn't think they created that many clear-cut chances, considering it was 10v11 at that point, given their quality. Thought Ben White struggled, but I'm not worried about that. I think he's still a very, very good player. And Havertz, I thought, was excellent. I know people will point to the miss where their keeper's made a good save and said that's why you need a top striker. And I understand that argument, but I also going to say we can't have that every time he misses a chance. I thought he was excellent. He set up the chance for Saka. He took the goal really, really nicely. I thought he showed real excellence, even with that chance he missed to get in that position. So I was really encouraged by that. I thought the other turning point in the game, though, came much earlier, about the 15-minute mark, which was when Odegaard picked up that injury. No yellow card, by the way. Similar challenge to the Declan Rice one. No yellow for that. Thomas Partey, his was softer as well. I didn't think it was a good refereeing performance, but that also, I think you could see that impacted the way we played. It was no surprise to see he was the man withdrawn after the sending off. But I think overall, given the circumstances, given we played 45 minutes with 10 men against a decent side, I think it's a decent result, but a disappointing one, given the circumstances around why we were playing with 10 men. And I can give more thoughts on Rice later, but that was my overview of the game.
Bro, I thought you made a great point in there with Odegaard as well, because very, very true. 15 minutes in, he picks up that knock, that little injury, and then completely changed. I mean, completely just sort of what's the word? I just don't think he was.
He couldn't quite run properly, could he? And it impacted his press.
Yeah,
I'm hoping we use it. I'm hoping we use it as an excuse to withdraw him from the Norway squad. I think it's an impact injury, as in one that give it a day or two and the bruising will go down and he'll be fine. I don't, you can't run for that long, as in the way he did if it's a serious injury. But I'm hoping it'll be enough to get him out of the Norway squad.
Yeah, I mean that pass in the second half where Calafiori would have been in. I mean that said a lot.
Yeah,
about Odegaard's performance.
I thought you were going to say that pass to Saka for that chance. That was a thing of beauty. That little lofted left-footed.
Yeah,
but you're right. That you could see then he was struggling.
Yeah, Rory, bro, I'll come to you obviously before we get into the whole Rice situation. What's your overall thoughts, obviously, on that game? And I know the Rice was a big factor of it, but dismissing that, the result. What's your overall thoughts about that, man?
Very poor result. What pisses me off is once again, if we don't win the league this season, we're going to be looking back at games like this. Because let's not kid ourselves, even with 10 men, we still had opportunities. And I will get on to the referee later on, but the referee did not cost Arsenal 3 points. Let's just have that right. The referee did not cost Arsenal 3 points. It's not his job to defend the equaliser. It's not his job to finish the chances for Arsenal. So let's just have it right. The referee did not cost us the 3 points. I reckon it was down to us, the reason why we dropped points. But at the same time, the referee did have a part to play, which I'll get onto later on. But very poor result. Not finishing our chances. And I mean, the chances, as I said, we missed, just tells you everything. Why we need a new striker. Now, I'm not, knocking Havertz whatsoever, because 2 goals in 3 games, brilliant. But you're always going to get that with Havertz. But in these golden moments where we need you to step up, that was the moment right there where he went through on goal. He did all the hard work. All we needed was just to finish, and he scuffed it. That pretty much determines a Premier League title, pretty much. In them sort of moments, we could have nicked it towards the end with 10 men against a Brighton side that dominated for the majority of the second half. So, I'm gutted. I am gutted that we haven't managed to claim 3 points because Brighton had nothing. They had a lot of the ball in the first half, but they didn't really do anything with it. Rye didn't really get tested, but that red card killed our momentum, just like in the opening 10 minutes where I think Milner went off injured. We started off really well, and then the Milner injury pegged back our momentum. Brighton started to get on the ball. But still, as I said, Brighton didn't really pose much threat. And I think we were the better team in the first half, and we arguably created the better opportunities in the second half, despite going down to 10 men. But it just wasn't to be. And with Tottenham and Man City back to back, if we don't win at least one of them games, then it's worrying. It is worrying, I can't lie, especially with Rice suspended for one of them games. But yeah, this is just me being totally honest. I don't think the referee cost us the 3 points, but he certainly killed the momentum of the game. And we all know in football that momentum is key in football. So I'm still seething, man. I really am.
Agreed, man. And yeah, look, you have to look at it like, the ref's not the reason, but as you said, the momentum was definitely killed. For it's like go down 10 men, everything changes completely. And Brighton, as I said, grew into the game because of that as well. Look, that must have done them the world of confidence, thinking, you know what, we have a chance here now. And they obviously went for the game, and as Dom said earlier, I mean, the stats as well, right? I think they had 22 shots, more possession as well, didn't they?
They did. I mean, Josh is also right. Roy's also right though that Brighton didn't. I wasn't overly worried about their chances that they created with them, and that was with 10 men. And I think Rory, I partially agree with Rory that it's not entirely on the referee. You do miss chances, and the defending for the goal. And I think I put more on the defending of the goal than I do on the missed chances. I think you will miss chances in a season. Even Haaland will miss chances in a season. He will miss less chances than any other striker on the planet. But I also think that I don't think Havertz scuffed his shot. I think what he should have done is try to go over rather than round the keeper with his shot. I think he could have put his laces through it more than side foot it. I think he was going for the Thierry Henry finish when the Thierry Henry finish wasn't the right type of finish. But I don't necessarily think that Victor Gyökeres or Osherman even definitely score that chance. I think if you look in the world football, the only striker I would guarantee almost scoring that would be Haaland, and you're not getting Haaland. But I do think the referee has to take, and I don't like blaming referees, right? They're not deliberately making bad decisions, and they're not trying to do these things. But and I know people say the letter of the law, but sometimes the law is an ass, and in this case, it's an ass. You look at the way that changes the game. It changes the momentum, as Rory rightly points out, for Brighton. They get confidence from that. We're trying to rearrange us when they get the goal. And I'm not making excuses here. I'm just saying that this totally changes the game. And I just don't think those things happen. And I genuinely think we get a second goal if we have 11 men on the pitch. And I think that's why that's the biggest factor in that, because we will always miss chances, and at times we will always make a defensive mistake in the game. That is going to happen over the course of a season. And I think the deciding factor here was Rice. It's a bit like last season at Newcastle, right? That was, I'm not necessarily blaming the on-field referee there, but the off-field officials in that case. But again, those will even out, in my view, over the course of the season. But it does make, I think, given the circumstance, a positive result. But if you'd ask me before the game, is a draw against Brighton a good result? Then obviously the answer is no.
I mean, the thing is with Havertz, as I just mentioned, he can score the odd chance, but miss the golden opportunity where we need him to deliver. But with Haaland, he can miss the odd chance, but he can turn up at any given moment when his team needs him the most. Like Tottenham away last season, he stepped up. Despite not playing great, he still bagged 2 goals.
I mean, Haaland is just a machine. I mean, he is genuinely
not everyone
unbelievable.
Needs Haaland,
no, exactly. And I think if there was a second Haaland out there and he was available this summer and we didn't move, then I'm feeling far more depressed about it. I think at the moment, I think Havertz had a really good start to the season. Let's be clear. Do I think he's the long-term striker answer? I think we will find out this season. My gut feeling is still no. But I understand why we have gone with him, given the second half of the season he had last year and the way he started the season. I probably personally would. I think if you're bringing another striker, I think you probably move on Gabriel Jesus, right? And I think that's probably what you do. And Arsenal, once they chose not to, I knew we weren't signing a striker, and therefore I was all right with it because I knew it wasn't going to happen. So I never got my hopes up with it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think Haaland could well be the difference between City and Arsenal this season. But equally, if he gets injured, God knows who plays centre forward for them. I might be in with a shot.
I mean, to be fair, the difference with Arsenal and Man City, not just Haaland, but Pep Guardiola. We've seen them win the league before without a striker. I think Foden's played false nine. Sterling's played false nine. Who else? I think they had...
Ferran Torres played.
Ferran Jesus at one point.
Well, he was a striker in theory, but yeah, Ferran Torres played false nine at times.
Yeah, Ferran Torres, that's another one. So Pep does know how to do it. But with Arsenal, we don't have the squad capacity to obviously experiment with that, can we?
I don't know. See, I was comparing the City and Arsenal squads the other day, actually. And when I looked at it, and I looked at the second 11s, I'm going to try and do this from memory now. But I looked at our second 11, and it was something like Neto, Tomiyasu, Timber, Kivior, Zinchenko, Partey, Jorginho, Wanyeri, Jesus would be the number 9, Sterling and Martinelli or Trossard. You can interchange them. And I looked at City's squad, and I didn't know who their left back was at all. Otherwise, I thought defensively they matched us. I didn't really necessarily think they had the replacement in for De Bruyne, a bit like us with Erdegaard, and I didn't have a centre forward for them. But I think the difference, as you rightly point out, Rory, is Pep's experience is just something else. It's a bit like when Alex Ferguson was manager of Manchester United. You almost always backed the team that was supposed to be challenging him to lose because of Ferguson.
Beat us 8-2.
I mean, we were shit back then, but I mean, Alex Ferguson, and I think Pep Guardiola in some ways is the new Alex Ferguson, where although ironically I've backed Arsenal to win the league this year, it's a fool's game because he's such a good manager. And, even though I think we got the stronger squad, ironically, I really genuinely do. And this is not a criticism of Arteta. This is praise for Pep Guardiola. He's that good that you kind of look at it and go, they've got him and they've got the best number 9 in the world. And they're still a strong squad. And I think that's what makes it interesting. That's what will make the title interesting this year.
No, definitely. And Seb, we've just been sat here, praising the referee. I thought we had a massive performance. And how you doing, Seb, man?
Oh, well. This has been langing on with me all weekend. No joke. I'm that annoyed about it. Oh.
Why are you wearing Brighton colours, by the way?
It's just a normal training. Oh, no. It's normal. It's not even blue. It's black.
The collar, though. The collar's blue and white, isn't
it? Oh, my God.
Seb, mate, you was obviously at the game as well, weren't you, man? We've not actually spoke about the Rice situation just yet. We're sort of saving that, and then we'll talk about the overall thoughts on the game in general and that result. So start of that, man. How you feeling about the result?
It's 2 big points dropped is a massive opportunity missed, because I said we had to be going in the international break and into those next 2 into the Spurs and City games with 9 points. And I'm afraid that's 2 points dropped. Yes, we were cheated out of it, but as well, which I'm sure we'll come on to in a minute because I've got a lot to say on that. But also we do need to look at ourselves a little bit, because if we put away those chances, we win the game. Odegaard should have scored. Havertz, second half. Saka, second half. You've got to be scoring those. And this is where I come to the point on this window. Where was this lethal number 9, which was so obvious that we needed? It's moments like this Because if you look at City right now and compare to us, what's the big difference? Haaland. Well, exactly. And every time in their games, when it's getting tricky for them, bang, bang. But every time when it's getting tricky for us, miss.
I think the question then is, who is that number 9 though? I was just saying to Rory, there isn't another Erling Haaland.
No. We're not
There
saying
isn't another Erling Haaland.
No, come on. No, come on.
I mean, there's Alfinga Haaland, but he played defensive midfield and he got crocked by Keane. But there isn't another Erling Haaland.
Well, Tony was available for 40 million.
Yeah, exactly. Tony was available.
Oh, come on.
Gyökeres was available. Osimhen was available.
Okay, I'm not sure about Gyökeres. Gyökeres wasn't available.
Are you not telling me that they would bang goals in with the
Hold on a minute, Seb. You don't watch that league in Portugal.
My point here is, I don't think there's a guarantee they score those goals. With Erling Haaland,
nothing's a guarantee.
No, well, with Erling Haaland,
guarantee until he came in. Nothing's a guarantee.
But with Erling Haaland, you can almost guarantee he scores that. But I don't necessarily think. I said earlier that I would bring in a striker, but probably to do so, you probably move on Gabriel Jesus. And I made my peace that wasn't going to happen, which makes it a little bit easier for me to swallow the pill because I kind of knew it was going to happen. But I also don't think that, there's a guarantee Osimhen. I don't think Tony's that special, to be honest. I've never had. But I don't think Osimhen.
40 million,
guarantee. Yeah, but they were giving them away, and these are risks you take. These are risks you take on. How do you know if you don't try?
Well, there's also the wider context of things like, does he fit with the squad? Blah 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 blah. Huh?
Why not?
Well, that was a decision Arsenal obviously took at that point, right? And you do have to consider those things. Look, of Tony, I'm absolutely fine with missing out on, and the fact that he went, no Premier League clubs came in for him, really.
But if you have no plan B,
where was the plan B?
But
where was it?
But the plan B is to go Trossard, Jesus, and whichever one I'm missing.
Who are not strikers.
That's what they've gone with, and they're going to live and die by that decision. On a personal level, would I brought in a striker? Yes, but I never thought we were going to. I said last week, I knew we weren't going to bring a striker. It was always going to be a wide forward. Nico Williams was the man they wanted. They obviously weren't going to get him, and I'm actually think that Sterling on a loan is absolutely fine. I've no issue with that, and they'll go again next year. But I think unless they were going to move on Gabriel Jesus, they were never going to go for the striker this year. I think the striker they wanted was Sesko, and once that didn't happen, or Isak, I think they had made their decision on that. And I think in some ways I can kind of see the point. And City have done it this year. They've got no backup to Haaland at the moment, where they said the striker we want to back up Haaland isn't there, and they haven't moved for it. Now, whether Osimhen or Tony or Gyökeres is that man, I think I would be fine with the latter two. Man,
see if the fundamentals are to play false 9, though.
Well, so do we in Trossard, right? That's essentially the same thing.
Yeah, I know, but I still don't think that's going to lead us to a league title because
it may not, and if it doesn't, then those questions will be asked. But I do think Arsenal have got enough, and I do understand. And there's a difference between doing what I would do and understanding the decision, right? So I personally probably would have moved on Jesus this summer because of his injury record, even though I think he's a fabulous player, and brought in another striker. I wouldn't have let Reece Nelson go as a 7-forward.
Sell Nketiah and Jesus.
Yeah, and bring it, and I would have probably gone. I would have probably gone for Victor Gyökeres actually, which might be a gamble, but that's probably what I would have done. Okay, that's a personal view. But I also knew that Arsenal weren't going to do that once Benjamin Sesko fell through. It was fairly obvious. If they had, they would have done it earlier. And they've made the decision that they think that Havertz is a 20-goal a season striker, which he may be. We don't know. And right now,
how did you have a chance in the second half?
Come on! If we're going to talk about missing a chance,
look, Tom, he had that chance identical last year when we played Brighton in the back of the net. This one missed. It was identical to that.
Rory rightly pointed out that in the big moments, and if he's missing them consistently over the season, Arsenal are going to rue that. But we can't go on one missed chance, right? At the moment, the guy has 2 in 3. That is a more than respectable Premier League record to be having, right?
Yes, but it's not the moment, though.
Yeah, and the big question is, can he sustain that, right? And that's why I would have probably gone Jesus out, Gyökeres in. But I also knew Arsenal weren't going to do that. And I think Arsenal were always going to go the wide forward route. Now we're going to live and die by that at the end of the season. If we lose the league,
Let's
and we
not
have,
kid
if we, hang
ourselves,
on one
right?
sec. Hang on one sec. If we get to the end of the season and we lose the league because City have scored 10, 15 more goals than us, that's going to be the decision that costs us. That's the time. Right now, do I believe Arsenal have enough to win the league right now? Then I really genuinely still do. I think they will move for the forward next year. I do, but Arsenal scored 90
in
odd goals
January,
last
Dom?
year. I mean, maybe they go in
come
January.
in January.
Or you can trigger Gyökeres as thingy in January if you wanted.
Well, they're not going to let him go in Jan.
Well, they don't have a choice if you play the
release
release clause.
January.
They ain't getting
No, I'm
him.
not saying we will. I'm saying it is still a possibility because you could trigger his release clause if Arsenal chose to. I
How
don't think
much
they
is the
will.
release clause?
About 65 mil.
65, yeah.
I'm roughly on the exchange rate. It will fluctuate between about 63, 67, 68, depending on the exchange rate. They could do that. I don't think they will. I think Arsenal will go with what they've got unless the opportunity comes. I think they want Sesko or Isak, and I think they want Nico Williams. I think Sterling was the backup option that fell to them. But the market opened up late and they were looking to see who came in. I think that's why Sterling comes in so late. And I actually think the Sterling deal is quite good. So I'm not necessarily defending the decision. What I'm trying to do is understand the Arsenal decision, and I can understand it. It's not what I would have done, but I can understand the thought process that they have had. And they will live and die by that. At the end of the season, if we don't win the league and it comes down because we didn't score enough goals, then that will be the obvious criticism. And it will be the right criticism to make. But I can understand the thought process because we scored over 90 goals last season. We've strengthened the left midfield in Moreno. We strengthened the defence again in Calafiori, and we've strengthened the quality of the attack with Sterling coming in to replace Nelson. And I think that is the case. Ranieri for Vieira is probably much of a muchness because let's be honest, we've got nothing special out of Ranieri, not Ranieri, Vieira so far. So you might as well take the risk there. That might be weaker, it might be stronger. We don't know. But overall, that squad does come out the window stronger.
Yeah, I think it's fair point there, Dom.
Both points are very fair, right? That it is fair enough to say we could have got the striker, and if you get the striker, I can understand that argument. It's perfectly valid.
Yeah, it's just before you get on to the next topic, because I know what's coming, but yeah, regarding Havertz, right, it's not just about that missed chance. Not yesterday, on Saturday. Even last season, when we had these big games, Bayern away, Man City away, even Liverpool at home, he was non-existent, if you ask me. He didn't score or assist, I don't think. Now that's not me saying he played bad, but still, he hasn't contributed enough in these big games other than Tottenham away. I'll give him that, but that's
I think that's
again,
absolutely
another
right.
reason why we need a striker, because
think
who's there to
think
come off the
that's right.
bench? If Jesus isn't fit, who's there to come off the bench if Havertz isn't exactly working out up top?
It's Trossard, isn't it? It's Trossard, Martinelli, Sterling. They're the options there. And I think that's the gamble they've taken, and that's the risk they're taking there, because you're absolutely right. In the big games, I think there's an argument we've not been brave enough as a team going forward. That we've tried to not lose the game rather than try and win the game at Bayern, at City. And I don't think that helps whoever your striker is, to be blunt, when you're doing that, because you're going to get less chance in the game. And I think most strikers, with one or two exceptions, are probably they're taking 1 in 2, 1 in 3 chances, with the possible exception of Mbappe and Haaland. And so you're absolutely right. There's the gamble they've taken. Do I 100% sit here and say Havertz is definitely a 20-goal a season striker? No, I can't say that. Do I think he could do it? Then yes, I do think he can do it. I just wouldn't want to put my mortgage on it because I couldn't guarantee it. Whereas if I was sitting at before the season even started, because he's already on 7, 8 goals. Do I think Haaland's getting 20 league goals this season? If he stays fit, then 100% I'll put my entire life savings on it, right? But I don't think there's another striker in the Premier League either that I would put my house on to score 20 league goals. Someone will, but I don't know who that is. It could be Isak, could be Watkins, could be Havertz. probably it could, but there aren't guarantees beyond Haaland, beyond Mbappe, beyond Kane. That's probably about it. Full guarantee in the top 5 leagues. Well, I don't really count France, top 4 leagues.
Fairs. Listen, I'm sure we're gonna probably bring that back up when we talk about the window, but let's move on to this, guys. The whole controversy, Declan Rice getting sent off, missing the game against Tottenham. Obviously, second yellow card. Man, where do we start this? Personally, for me, all I ask is consistency. From these referees, because you know what we're going to bring up. Brighton had a very similar situation happen in the first half, and I know there's a bunch of Brighton fans. Seb, I think you know them very well in my chat.
Oh yeah, mate, they're all in the chat here. They've been spamming it to me all weekend with their load of crap. They're going to get some reality here now, because I'm just not having it. I'm going to get some reality here now.
But yeah,
this gets reality here now, because I'm just not having it. And there's some other troll fans. There's Chelsea and Liverpool fans.
I'll tell you what, mate. Seb, I'm going to you first on this, mate. Get it off your chest,
here we go.
Get it off your chest, bro.
Oh, where's my start?
Before he starts, it's a rare one where Seb and I are going to 100% agree, I think.
Yeah, very rare, guys. But yeah, Seb, go on, man.
Oh, where do I start? Right. All these people that are defending this, honestly, seriously, actually get a grip. Because honestly, this is just ridiculous. Right. First of all, the first yellow, no complaints. That was a clear first yellow. And secondly, I'm sorry, but how are you going to send someone off? For first of all, it weren't even a foul in the first place. Secondly, it was just a small tap. And thirdly, Veltman kicks the ball at Rice. I'm like, how does that even make sense? But yet in the first half, you had Pedro boot the ball almost wide, load way down. Nothing. I'm just like, this is beyond a joke now. Because now Rice is going to have to face the consequences. And all we get is, the letter of the law says you've got to go. Yeah, well, the letter of the law also says you can't restart replay whilst the ball was moving. The ball was when the ball was actually moving. And secondly, and how is he wasting time if it's just a small tap? If he booted it out way wide or a bit harder, yes. How's it wasting time? He's got to stop the ball first before we can interfere. And Rice was actually walking away from the situation, and then Veltman kicked it at him. So I'm sorry. The ball was moving. It weren't a foul. And plus, how on earth is he trying to block it when he was in the opposition half? I'm sorry, but these people need to seriously get a grip. I'm sure you all agree with me here. I know people in the chat are talking nonsense. I'm talking absolute nonsense. I've had it all weekend. Seriously, know the rules, get a grip. Because if
I'll get onto the rules later.
That has happened the other way round, you same Brighton fans would be moaning, saying, it weren't a red. And plus, if he hadn't have been sent off, which the ref didn't need to make, then no one would have come back and spoken about it. You would have had no one come back. He did not kick the ball away. It was a...
See what I mean? Know the rules.
Yes. Well, how about you know the rules?
He didn't kick the ball away, did he?
He didn't kick the ball away. But yet these refs like to make it about them. I'm just like, he didn't need to make that decision. didn't need to. And when I'm sorry, the more times I watch it back, I'm just like, because I'm just like, either you're just a Brighton fan, and you're just defending that, or you're a rival fan, or you're a rival fan with an agenda, or you're a troll. It's just as simple as that. Just as simple as that. I'm sorry. There is no way he should have gone. No way. And if anyone honestly wants to fight me over this, I really will. I've got all the time for it. Fight me over this like I've had with all weekends.
Oh.
Seriously, I'm like, how on earth are you sending him off?
Sorry, Rice tried to get Veltman sent off for kicking him.
Oh yeah, just ignore these people. Ignore these people in the chat. Ignore those guys.
What am I hearing?
I know they're just doing it to just get me. I know them all well. Pretty
my
just
God!
Ignore those guys in the chat.
I think probably Rice did, but I think with some justification because he was an absolute kick. Both of them knew what they did. Both of them knew what they were doing.
Why is that a red? It's not. It's not even. It doesn't warrant a second yellow. Well, would you get one in the first half? You even saw one in the Liverpool United game go unpunished when they kicked the ball away. You even saw one of those. You're seeing it every week. Every week, pretty much. And I bet you're not going to see another decision like that again. First of all, remember last year the Tomiyasu red cards? That should never have happened. You never saw that happen. You never saw that happen again during the season. And when Martinelli against Wolves, when he got sent off for 2 yellows in quick offence, when he didn't even realise he got the first yellow.
That was worse than this one. That were.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Listen, I don't like moaning about the refs and all that. I don't, but if they're the reasons why,
wow, you're doing it.
But listen, if they're the reasons why
I know what you mean, Seb. I know
why the game has changed, then that's when they get the blame. That's when they get the blame because that's completely changed. It was literally the start of the second half as well. You don't do that at the start of the second half. So we had to play that whole time.
I don't think the timing makes it.
By the way, he's a Chelsea fan. That guy, by the way, he's a Chelsea fan and he's a troll. So
he's a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, I just told him, and I just messaged him to say stop spamming the chat. Don't listen. It's easy. You get all these people just coming for you and all that. And of course they'll defend it because they all hate Arsenal. Which fine, you don't have to like. Fine, you don't have to like Arsenal, but come on, use this. Use this. Just like the ref, use this. There's just none of it. Look, most pundits and most experts are saying it weren't a red, it was the worst decision ever. It's not just
here's how you know it wasn't a red. Gary Neville and Jamie O'Hara both said it weren't a red.
Wow. Well, there you go. It weren't a red because it weren't a red.
There you go.
It weren't a red.
George, you can't answer the question because he didn't fucking kick the ball away. What are you fucking talking about?
Kick the ball away for the 500th time. How many times have I said it to you over the text of the week? He did not kick the ball away. Man,
Oh,
use this.
Oh no! If he headbutted him, it's a red. Seb.
No, use this.
he didn't kick the ball away for God's sake.
He didn't.
Oh,
Didn't.
Okay, so you're changing narrative now. It's gone from kicking the ball to then tapping away. So which one is it?
Which one is it? But yet in the first
No, it's not. It's not kicking the ball. It's not.
in the first half, Pedro did nothing.
Yeah, facts.
And the ball was moving. You can't necessarily delay a restart if the ball was moving. You can't. And plus, it was in the opposition half. It wasn't even in your half. It was way down. In fact, where I was sitting in the ground, I couldn't.
Look at this BS. Look at this BS in the chat as well. Pedro tried to keep the ball in play. Kiss my arse.
Yeah, he's a Chelsea fan and he's a troll, mate. He's a Chelsea fan and he's a control. And I see this
Seriously,
if
that happened to you, oh my
exactly.
God.
If that happened to you, you would be livid. And tell the truth now. Just take your hat off for 1 minute and actually understand things. Because believe me, I can go in all day on this. I can have all weekend, and I've argued with several people.
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm going in. Don't
And then
worry.
nonsense across. Oh, the letter of the law says you've got. The letter of the law says you've got to go. The letter of the law says you've got to go.
To be clear,
Well, first
clear
of all,
to be clear now, you're not talking about Edu, right?
well, first of all, we'll come on to that. I'm sure we'll come. Well, first of all, most of the letter of the laws, most of the letter of the laws don't even apply in football or necessary because they're very inconsistent. And secondly, you cannot possibly interfere with play when the ball was moving and stop an opportunity from going when it's on the other side of the pitch. And he didn't kick it away.
I think you
In
can.
fact, he kicked it. Veltman kicked it at Rice. He knew what he was doing. He was trying to get him booked or something. Caused chaos. But yet the ref took the easy decision out and said, you know what? You've got to go. No, you don't. And even regardless of whether Rice meant it or not, please, it was not worthy of a second yellow. But anyway, I'm sure you've got something to say about that. But
yeah, I'll come to
Nothing to
Rory
say.
next, mate. I'll come to Rory next. Thoughts on the whole Rice situation, mate. And
I'm going back to this game, and there's one comment in the chat here from this guy. No. Down at the end when Archie says Rice even admitted that.
There's so many. Wait, hold on.
Okay.
Let's have a look.
It says Rice even admitted it was a red.
Why do you think Rice admitted it himself that it was a red? Why do you think? Again, use this. Because what would happen to him? Because he's already missing the Spurs game as a result of that. What would happen to him if he argued against it, said it wasn't?
Yeah, I know.
He'll
These
get
same people.
He'll get an even bigger punishment. So of course he's going to admit it. Come on.
Yeah, like you lot would.
Just like in managers.
You lot in the chat would say, "Oh my God, Rice is chatting bollocks."
They are chatting.
These same people would be saying, "Oh, Rice is chatting bollocks." If he would say, "Oh no, I got hard done by." Them same people in the chat, and oh no, you're going Rice even admitted it was.
Of course he would admit it because he knows he's in trouble in the first place because of injustice like that. So he's not going to do.
The ref got bullied into making that decision.
More trouble especially when he knows the games that are coming up. Come on, people need to use this. They're not.
Yeah, facts said, mate. Absolute facts. Rory, bro.
Anyway, I'll let you speak.
Yeah, let's come to Rory
If I
next.
see any more nonsense in the chat, seriously, I'm not having it.
Yeah, I know.
And I know half of you in there aren't Brighton fans. So
exactly, Villa fan. He knows.
Yeah, but at least that Villa fan is talking sense. Yes. Yeah, you're talking sense.
A big up Villa fan. But yeah, Rory, bro, over to you, mate.
Disgraceful. What do you want me to say? The fact Chris Kavanagh was appointed to officiate that game in the first place baffles me. How the fuck is he getting appointed to officiate this game in the first place when A, the guy's from Manchester, and B, isn't this the same referee that called us out for over-celebrating? Was it against Bournemouth last year?
Yeah.
Why in the blue hell has he been appointed to officiate this game when we know he has something against Arsenal? The red card, I mean, as Seb said, I think no one is complaining about the first yellow card. Blatant yellow card. Didn't get any of the ball.
No complaints there.
Yeah,
but
no complaints. But the second one, you're sending him off for that? Are you taking the piss? Seriously, are you taking the piss? He's tapped the ball after what? I think it was 5 seconds of having a bit of a coming together with Veltman or something. Which, again, I agree. I don't think it was a free kick. I agree with Seb. I think it wasn't a free kick at first.
It was not a free kick.
No, it wasn't. But all I'm hearing is, oh, the rules are the rules. The rules are the rules. We don't know the fucking rules.
Who does?
People in the chat, tell me what the fucking rules are. Dom don't know it. I don't know it. Seb don't know it. Josh don't know it.
I think you're fine, Rory. I know everything.
The only thing I've heard about, the rules, the rules, should I say, regarding bookings, VAR, whatever, is if you delay the restart, you get a booking. How are you delaying the restart when the ball is already moving?
Exactly.
How? João Pedro in the first half, right? I'm not having this gimmick about, but he was trying to keep the ball in play. You can tell by his body language that he pretty much intended to boot that ball 40 yards in frustration because it was our ball. And it wasn't just them 2 incidents, by the way. He was so one-sided for the rest of that game. The amount of times Saka got hug handled by I think that left back, and was it Veltman who smashed an elbow to his face, no free kick given. But Partey gets booked for the first foul.
The only yellow card he gave Brighton was towards the end of the game when one of their players waved a imaginary card. That was the only. You just got me onto my next point. You just got me onto my next point. Oh, sorry.
The ref, I'm pretty sure, got bullied into making that decision because you saw in the replay that Danny Welbeck is saying in the replay that's a second yellow. It's on the Brighton TikTok account. He said that's a second yellow. So he's been bullied into making that decision. And now we're missing our most important player for the North London derby due to the referee's incompetence.
Exactly. Oh, man.
Right? Look, you can miss me with the rules all you want. But at the end of the day, they change them every bloody match day. So what's the point telling me? Because they're just going to... They're going to change them. Every single time. It was a foul, Ty. Stop bullshitting. It was a foul. Oh, wait. No, I didn't read that correctly. Ignore me.
It's not the plot.
I apologise. I'm seething with that red card decision. Right? You saw last week when I think there was an incident in the Aston Villa game where I think Saliba got fouled, and remember when Ben White smashed the ball at McGinn after McGinn smashing the ball.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the ref could have sent them both
let it go.
But he let it flow. He didn't. Exactly.
We want a free-flowing game. What happens to shouldn't be ruined by referees. No wonder we don't see many red cards early on. Around the, I don't know, opening 10 to 20 minutes. Because they don't want to ruin the flow of the game. What's happened to that nowadays? Seriously, what has happened? I'm sick of it. The English refereeing is just, not just the refereeing, the officiating is beyond my comprehension. It is absolutely hideous. It's the worst it's ever been. And they said they were going to improve. I always wonder why Arsenal get officiated differently to the rest of the teams in the Premier League. Right, Martinelli, remember 2 years ago? Wind it back when he got sent off
No. Oh,
for not knowing he had a second yellow in the first place. Not seen that whatsoever. I've not seen players getting sent off for the same thing Tomiyasu did against Crystal Palace. Last season, I think we played Man City at home, Kovacic, when he got sent, well, he should have been sent off, but I've seen red cards given for that. Martinelli was on a double yellow, but at the time, he didn't know he was on a double yellow.
He didn't know he got it. Yes, they were both yellow card events, but he didn't realise.
You can't give him a second yellow in a
When have you
matter of
ever seen
seconds.
that happen? Ever? You don't. When have you ever seen that?
Shall I bring in some? Shall I give my comments, Josh? Or
Yeah, sure. You got anything to add, Tom?
so, I think. Look, first things first. I don't think it's a red card. To be clear, look, does
Definitely
Rice
not.
tap the ball? Yes, he does. Do I think he knows what he's doing? Yes, I do. And I know the letters of the law say that, but I think that law is there to stop incidents where someone's about to take a free kick and you boot it 30 yards down the pitch, right? That's what it's there for, rather than you've tapped it 2 yards. I think the foul in the build up to it is subjective. I think at best it's soft, but I'm not really giving a free kick for that, if I'm honest. I think Veltman and Rice are trying to get each other into trouble, and I understand that. I understand why you do that. If you're, if Veltman's an Arsenal player, you understand why he's doing it. If Rice is the Arsenal player, which obviously is, you understand why he's doing it. I think my issue with it is, as has been pointed out, the ball is moving. So I think you can interfere with play when the ball is moving, but that's booting the ball miles, not tapping it a yard. So he can't take the free kick there because the ball is moving. Secondly, I don't think there's any intention to. I know he said he's kicking it to Welbeck. Welbeck's nowhere near where he's looking where to launch that ball. So I don't think that there's any. I don't think he's delaying the free kick at all there. I don't think Veltman's looking to take the quick free kick. I think they're just looking to get in each other's faces and wind each other up. And I think Chris Kavanagh in that situation had a decision. He can follow the absolute letter of the law and send Declan Rice off, or he can make the common sense decision, which I think is really what the rule is intended for here, which is to do what the referee did last week with McGinn. I think it was McGinn for Villa and White, where they were booting the ball at each other last week, which is come here, calm down, stop the nonsense, let's get on with the game. So for me there, I don't see how you can give the yellow card to one player and not the other, if that's what you're going to do, because I think Veltman is basically kicking the ball away by taking a free kick while
He's
moving.
kicked out.
He's delayed. And he's kicked through Rice. I think whether it's deliberate or not is a judgment call. But I think at this point in time, I just think that is not a red card in any way, shape, or form. Rice is a bit of a silly boy by giving the referee a decision to make, but I just don't see how, in any common sense interpretation of what the rules are, that's a red card. I just can't see it.
For how much was Rice really trained to trying to delay things?
Well, that's my point. That's my point, right? That I don't think he's trying to delay it.
I think Veltman even trying to restart play.
Well, literally just said that, right? That I just, Rice isn't trying to delay the restart, to my mind. He's kicked the ball a yard. If he wants to delay the restart, he kicks it out of play, properly into the stand. I think they're both trying to just wind each other up at this point, and that's where you had that common sense conversation. You bring them together like the referee did last week, right? So, for me, I can't see how Rice gets sent off there. I was genuinely bemused by the decision. The commentators were, and as I said earlier, when you've got what's his face, the gobshite from Spurs, who's on TalkSport, I forget his name now. When he's turning around and saying it's not a red card, Gary Neville, saying it's not. You've got people that are not Arsenal defenders saying it's not a red card. I think you've got to take that seriously. And I think any team, if their player is sent off in that situation, are absolutely livid, and understandably so.
Yes, absolutely.
But
yeah. Also,
it is what it is.
Could I just point this out? If the ref, sorry, not the ref, if the rules are rules, then why didn't the ref bring the ball 8 yards back where the free kick, the foul actually got committed?
Exactly. He moved. Exactly.
Why?
Exactly.
Well, there's also that consistency point in the game. There's a consistency point in the game as well, right?
There isn't one. There's none.
But consistency between games, I can kind of live with, because you've got different games with different scenarios. You've got different referees interpreting events differently, and you could make the same argument in a game. But I can't sit. But the referee knows what he's done and what he hasn't done previously. So once he gives Partey the yellow card, right, for first offence, let's be honest, that's not a yellow card. Rice, it's a yellow card. I can kind of see why the Odegaard one wasn't a yellow card when he gets taken out. But if you're letting them go, you then need to consistently let them go until you give them teams fair warning. What you can't do is chop and change. Once you give them Partey the yellow card, then every offence of similar nature needs to be a yellow card through the game. That's it. But what you could see is Partey get yellow card in that game, and then 4 or 5 other yellow cards of the same thing from Chris Kavanagh, and then Michael Oliver, I don't know where he's refereeing at the weekend, having a similar instance of a Partey one and going, do you know what? First warning, don't do that again. It's a yellow card, and referees it like that the game. There's your inconsistency, but I can live with those inconsistencies because that's a referee game managing. I think in the same game, I find it a lot harder. And as I say, for me, it's not a red card. I can understand why the referee's got to make a decision because of Rice's action, but it's not a common sense decision. It's a silly decision. It really is. I've never been a fan of Chris Kavanagh as a referee, just in general. I don't think he's a good referee, but that's not, I don't buy the conspiracy theory stuff either, to be clear.
By the way, I'll answer that, why he flicks the ball away. Because the ball was rolling towards him. What do you want him to do?
I think it's instinct, isn't it? If I'm coaching my kids on Saturday,
it's normal for any player to do that.
As if you can take a free kick whilst the ball is moving. You can't do that.
To stop the ball first.
I think it's an instinct.
Hellman didn't even stop the ball. He kicked it straight into Rice as it was moving. He didn't even stop the ball.
It's an instinct reaction, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
If I'm coaching my kids at the weekend,
the ref being bullied into making that decision. He's not sent him off because it was his decision. It's because Brighton players were surrounding the referee once again, threatening, blackmailing him to make that decision, and he's made the decision.
Just to be clear on that comment in the chat there, I agree. It's not a yellow card. That was a sensible refereeing decision last week, McGinn and White. That's how this incident should have been dealt with, in my view.
I know. That's a red card. So, that's a second yellow, should I say? But the Ben White one isn't.
And the thing is, if we're doing
that, how it should have been. It's just a coming together. What else do you expect?
Please.
Look, undoubtedly, there's no question Rice kicks the ball away, but there's a big difference between tapping it, almost certainly in my view on instinct, by the way, and booting the ball 30 yards down the field. If we're going to give yellow cards for that, then there's going to be a heck of a lot of yellow and red cards this season, by the way. It's not a common sense decision. You can sit there and say he kicks the ball away, and technically you are absolutely right. But it is technically right. However, it is not the common sense. It is not how games are generally refereed.
Sorry, I can't deal with.
But I'm saying it's technically right. Okay, he does kick the ball, but I'm sorry, but if that's counting as kicking the ball away, then good God, are we in for a long season of everyone all 20 Premiership teams?
Exactly.
Yeah,
like I said, you saw some incidents yesterday. The Liverpool United taking the ball away, nothing happened. Like you said,
Bro said Ben White should have been red carded, could have killed McGinn. Okay, what about McGinn on Saliba then?
Yeah, come on.
Sorry, what you
I swear to God.
I suspect that might be what I can be guilty of sometimes, which is going fishing for a reaction. But yeah, I mean, if anyone genuinely believes Ben White could have
killed Saliba,
if anyone thinks that Ben White's killing McGinn with that's daft, and vice versa. That's what I'm saying.
If it's deliberate in the face, I can understand, but not in the chest.
and look, I remember on the wall, for anyone thinking I'm just saying this about Rice because I'm an Arsenal fan, I actually was defending the on-field referee a few weeks ago, the Wolves choke, right? Where I can see how...
Yeah, exactly. Why wasn't that? Exactly.
Well, it's not a red card.
Actually, these same people in the chat, I actually showed that image to most of them. And a couple of them said he deserved to be choked down. A couple of them didn't.
No one deserves that, right?
Yeah, he did. That's what they said.
No one deserves that. But just in case anyone think I will.
See, why wasn't that?
Just in case just in case anyone thinks that I'm being biased here because Rice is an Arsenal player, I said a couple of weeks ago I could understand why the Wolves player is not sent off by the on-field official in that instant, because the on-field official probably thinks the player's fallen and his hands come out and it's landed on him and it's an accidental thing. I think the issue there is that VAR aren't looking at that one because I think that was deliberate foul play. But the on-field official, I can see how he makes that conclusion. And I will defend the on-field official for not sending the Wolves player off in that situation. I cannot defend the on-field official, if I'm honest with you, despite the letter of the law, because it just doesn't make sense. It is non-common sense decision, and it is the strictest possible interpretation of the rules. And if you're doing that, then the game is genuinely gone. And I don't like hyperbole, but that is hyperbole, right? That is pure hyperbole. To say that, but I think in this instance, it's a genuine position to have, because if you're doing that, then there's going to be 5 to 6 yellow cards a game, because it's never going to stop. That kick away is an instinct kick. The ball has come rolling towards him. An instinct. I do it hundreds of times in training with the kids a week when the ball gets away from him and it rolls towards me, and I'll kick it a yard or so to stop the ball rolling or whatever. It's instinct to put your foot out when that ball's rolling towards you. It's pure instinct.
Exactly. Listen, guys, let's move on, because we were talking about this for about
we might as well.
Let's move on, man. Let's quickly talk about the UCL draw that happened. Obviously, Arsenal now know who we're going to be facing, in this new Champions League format. And we know the fixtures. I think we've got obviously Atalanta away first, tough game away from home. PSG seconds. I think it's Shakhtar third, isn't it, at Emirates?
Yeah, Shakhtar's next to the Emirates. Yeah.
Who's after that? It's
away.
Inter away, and then I
think it's
Monaco at home.
Just really quickly to interrupt, there's a break clause in the Osman loan deal to Galatasaray in January.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. It's breaking 17 seconds ago. Well, more than that now because I've been talking. But
no, sorry. Going back to the draw, it's Sporting Lisbon away.
Sporting away after Inter.
Then Monaco. Then it's Monaco.
Then Monaco. And then obviously Zagreb and Girona away. Yeah. So we now know our teams. Obviously, Inter away is for me is going to be the toughest there. I think what it is like away from home. Arsenal in Champions League, it's not great. I mean, if you base it off the recent seasons when we go away to these places, we do tend to struggle. So I think all the away games are always going to be tough. I think we'll be all right at home though. Obviously, it's this new league format. You got to finish in the top 8 to obviously automatically qualify. If not, you got to play an extra game.
2 games.
Sorry. Oh, yes, it's 2. Yeah, two games.
Yeah, 2
legs to get into the last 16. If you finish below that, then you obviously get completely dusted out of the tournament. But yes,
I don't understand this 2-leg thing because I've got 3. I don't know about you boys.
Hold on, what do you mean? You've got 3?
Jesus Christ.
Right. Oh, I've got you now.
I'm going to start calling Seb Heathrow from now on because everything goes over his head. A bit like Lewis Dunk.
No.
But
no, it was a joke. Lewis Dunk got out of the way of the ball, didn't he? When you have to explain the joke, it's never as funny, and it weren't that funny to start with.
Seb, I'll come to you first, man. What's your reaction of that UCL draw?
Well, to be honest with you, I think it's been pretty kind to us because it could have got a lot worse. We could have had Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and Dortmund, etc. It could have been a lot worse. And I think Inter Milan will be a difficult game away from home. But apart from that, I'm not going to lie. I think we should be winning most of those games, especially at
Who
home.
manages Inter these days, by the way?
Sorry?
Do you know? Who manages
Inzaghi.
Inter these days?
Inzaghi.
Inzaghi, yeah. I couldn't remember. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I've mentioned him a few times, but anyway, that's for another conversation. But that's for another conversation. But back onto the draw. Yeah, I actually quite like it. Actually, however, that does include some tough games in between. Pivotal Premier League games. So the first tough one is straight back from the international break. We've got Tottenham, Atalanta, and Man City all away inside a week. And then when you go,
Wait, Seb, sorry to cut you off. Is a Bolton game on the 17th still?
No. That's on the 25th. They've just put it there. They haven't actually confirmed that, but he will definitely not be. He'll likely be
25th.
on the 25th. He'll likely be on the 25th. They just haven't confirmed that. So no, that's wrong. For anyone who thinks that we've got 4 games in a week as soon as we come back, that's wrong.
It's not going to be, as you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tottenham, Atalanta, Man City all in a week. That's difficult. And also, when you come towards the end of October, heading into November, we've got Liverpool, Newcastle away, Inter Milan away, Chelsea away, all inside. Again, that's all inside like 2 weeks. So that's also going to be a hard run of fixtures. So the thing is, this is where I really explain. I'm sure we're going to come on to the transfer window shortly, why we need a big enough squad, because when you got things like this, which you have to win now, especially your league games and your Champions League games, because this new format is more like you need to win, because it's not like the group stages when you've done enough games and you've qualified, then you can just rest at the last hurdle. You don't have that this time. Now all your games matter on where you're going to finish.
Your best case scenario is your last game doesn't matter because you've already got the points, but even that's quite a difficult and unlikely scenario.
Yeah, but still, you've got other teams collecting all the points, and
that's what I'm saying.
They're going to collect similar, so it could easily go down to goals.
Exactly.
Goals scored.
What I'm saying, you could have a scenario where you're 4 points ahead of the side in 9th place at that point, but that's highly unlikely. That's your best case scenario for getting a rest game in the Champions League. So I think you're absolutely right. There are no rest games in the Champions League this year, unlike last year.
And to be fair, I think that's how it should be. I think that's how it should be. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out for Arsenal on top of crucial Premier League fixtures, but it's a relishing change that all teams are going to get used to, and we'll wait and see what happens. But there are some exciting games in there which we should be looking forward to. So yeah, I'm going to just say, bring it on.
Bring it on, yeah. Rory, bro, how are you feeling?
Hopefully, I might go to 1 or 2, possibly. You never know.
You went Sporting last season.
You know what?
Porto won it, or was it Sporting?
Both.
Seb? Oh, yeah,
Sporting
both.
the year before.
You know what?
Sporting the year before, Porto last year.
Nice one.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually planning on going to Inter away. So
Inter away.
That'll be classic.
Yeah, possibly, but then again, it's on the Thursday, or is it on the Wednesday?
Wednesday.
No, the only game is Thursday is Atalanta, ain't it?
Yeah, Atalanta's on Thursday. Inter Milan.
That's going to be difficult for me because I've got college every day but Friday. So
Inter Milan is Wednesday. Yeah.
It's very unlikely that I'm going to make it.
And I do feel quite annoyed that they put us on the Thursday then before we play C on the Sunday. I'd much rather it was a Wednesday. So that is a little bit of a slight disadvantage, because with that travel, then you got to get back and prepare for crucially your biggest game of the season, because now it's got even more meaning on it after those.
I just don't like the fact that Champions League games on a Thursday.
I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, just full stop.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I mean, you've got to give a bit of limelight for sides who didn't make the Champions League. What are Chelsea going to do? No one's going to watch them. Bless them.
Yeah,
Man United.
Well, they've just beaten the Napkins from Switzerland, the old Serviette, and now they've got to go and play someone called Noah.
Well, you had that Chelsea fan in the chat trolling. Well, he needs to look at himself. Look at where you're playing. Look at where we're playing.
My mate
Anyway.
Tim's Tim's in the chat.
Big up,
Oh,
amazing channel, man. Big up, bro.
Oh,
Big
dear
up.
me.
oh, you so-
It's going to
He
be a
says,
long
listen
season.
to
It's
Tom
going to be a
speak. I
long
didn't even know
season.
anything about European or American football.
It's going to be a long season for us in the old NFL this year, I tell you.
Oh, wow. There
dear
we
me.
go.
Cheers for tuning in, Tim.
Thank you, man. Big up. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And you can tune out now. He sent me a mug when I broke my shoulder, and he's he's put Austin Powers glasses on me, and I'm sort of topless in bed with my arm in a sling, and it just says, "Do I make you horny? If for a good time, call 0800 whatever, something like that." It's a quality mug.
Love that. Absolutely love that, man. But Rory, what's your thoughts on that draw, man?
Yeah, I don't mind it actually.
I think it's kind to us.
Yeah. When you deep it, I mean, obviously Inter Milan's going to be tough. PSG, because of the name, could be tough, but at the same time, at
We might
home,
be getting them at the right time because we haven't got Mbappe, so we might be getting them
yeah,
a good
yeah.
time.
So I think we'll be okay. Obviously, Sported away, they knocked us out in the Europa League 2 seasons ago, but we don't have Aaron Ramsdale in goal anymore, so yeah, that's a bonus. And obviously they've got Gyökeres, but it don't matter because Saliba and Gabriel will pocket him. So yeah, I think it's looking good. I think we should be reaching top 8 minimum. If you ask me, I think that is the aim. And yeah, considering speaking of PSG actually, that their run, their run in the Champions League isn't looking nice. I think who they got again? I've forgotten. I know they've
They got
got
City,
really.
they got City as well, haven't they?
Yeah, City's one of them. They've got Bayern. Is it Bayern Munich they've got, or is it Real Madrid?
Let me have a look.
I don't think there's anything to be concerned about PSG at home. To be honest with you, I think it'll be fine. I think the guys are right that there's going to be about 12 sides who think they're going to finish top 8, and
They got
realistically,
Bayern.
Where he wants,
Bayern.
And they got
everyone's
Atletico.
to get top 8. That's the whole. That's the
Yeah,
whole.
so they've got a difficult run in, to be fair. And with Arsenal, we should be winning most of them, especially when the fact that the vast majority of them are at home. Not many are away, although the away games are scattered around like the fixtures in November, December time, where we typically do struggle. The Christmas period is just not a nice month for Arsenal. We know that already. So, yeah. Besides about that, I mean, it's looking okay. It's just the way they've scheduled the fixtures, the likes of Inter Milan away, Atalanta away. Yeah, it's going to be tough, especially when the fixtures have been moved from a Tuesday night, Wednesday nights to Thursday. Obviously, some are going to be played on the Wednesday and
I think it's
Tuesday.
only the first round that stretches to Thursday. All the others are Tuesday. Wednesday.
Oh,
only
really?
the very first round.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I checked that.
Yeah, we should be all right actually. I thought it'd be a lot tougher.
Yeah. Don, mate, what's your thoughts on obviously the UCL draw for Arsenal?
I think the guys have covered it really well. I think we're in a position where you're going to get some tough games. You're going to get some relatively easy games. I think it could have been harder to us. We could have faced Real Madrid. You could have. I'm not quite so worried about Bayern, but Bayern is. I'd rather have the tide we got than Bayern Munich. I think we could beat Bayern, particularly at home. But you've avoided the trickiest ties. I wouldn't. I think crucially our away games are not too far from us. We haven't got to travel to Shakhtar, for instance. So I think that's really helpful. So I think, as the guy said, I think you've got to be looking at top 8 there. There'll be other sides thinking they can get there, but I see no reason to think Arsenal can't get top 8, to be honest. And I think that's really important because you miss those 2 extra games. And if you miss those 2 extra games, that's really helpful in a season with a lot of games.
100%, man. Yeah, definitely. We should be aiming to get our top 8. Don't be playing them 2 legs. But before even the round of 16 as well. But yes, let's move to the final topic, guys. We're talking about the transfer window.
Now,
We're ready for another Seb rant.
oh, here we go. Because trust me, I've got a lot to say on this.
Oh, Fabrizio Romano's back there. Here we go.
Fabrizio Romano.
Here we go.
Where's the rumours? Where's the rumours? Come on.
Romano.
Well, thank goodness.
Yeah.
You've been quiet for a while.
Because trust me,
let's talk about this window. Obviously, players we signed. Firstly, we got
sorry to interrupt. Ironically, it was just being a Fabrizio Romano. Here we go.
Oh my days.
I mean, it's nothing big. It's Steven Bergwijn. It's just been a here we go. Literally, I just refreshed Twitter just as you. And we get a here we go.
Fabrizio Romano, mate. Perfect timing there. But yeah, obviously we saw at the window we signed David Raya permanently, which I think was a decent deal. Had to be done, as we know. I think he's turned out to be a very, very good goalkeeper. So
best goalkeeper in the Emirates era, isn't he?
Who?
Raya.
David Raya.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Cool.
But
I'm
yeah,
so
obviously.
disappointed.
Leno.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
He covered himself in glory for that goal at the weekend, didn't he?
What goal?
Neto's there, bro.
I didn't watch that game. What goal?
Well,
Roberto Neto is clear of Leno.
What? Norbert?
Pedro Neto.
Fulham, the goal Fulham conceded at the weekend, the ball went through his hands.
I didn't see that.
It went through his hands. Nor did Leno, clearly.
No.
Well, yeah, it went through his hands.
Right, okay, I'll watch that back. He is the best keeper in the Emirates here. Raya, close seconds.
There we go.
Anyway.
Stand by that. Go.
Anyway, it was
won the game.
Good signing for obviously permanent for David Raya. And then after that, we got in Riccardo Calaflori from Bologna. We improved the defense even more. I think that is that was a great signing, if I'm being honest with it. Because the player, as we know, comes in, can play left back, can play centre back. Excellent going forwards. Excellent, defensively as well. He's so solid. So very, very good signing. So he only improved the defense. Obviously, then Mikel Merino's came in. He is now injured because he got injured in his first training session. Gabriel landed on him, and he's fractured his shoulder. So he's
second injury in 3 years for him.
Oh, it's just happens at Arsenal, man. Like it's just like what is only at Arsenal,
isn't it?
Sorry, man.
He's missed 3 games in 3 years and comes in.
He comes in.
Misses 8. It's like, of course he does.
Of course he does. Yeah, but obviously.
Dom, sorry. I'm just watching that goal back that Ipswich scored.
Yeah.
It didn't go through his hands.
Oh, Seb, rubbish. You defend anything, Seb, about what Leno
does not go through his hands.
Joe Hart would disagree. Joe Hart would disagree with you. Former England goalkeeper.
That does not go through his hands.
But yeah,
could have done a bit better. But no, I'm sorry to say that goes complete. No, I'm sorry.
Oh, Seb, mate. Oh. Leno, he lost Leno, man. Seriously.
My keeper.
Is he a great keeper? What about when we played Everton in lockdown and he let
One mistake.
I
can name me hundreds, which all the others have made. No, one mistake.
But anyway, yeah, obviously Merino was second signing, and then we didn't sign him until obviously deadline day when we brought in Neto from Bournemouth on a loan deal. Obviously, former Barca player, former Valencia player, and then obviously Raheem Sterling.
We got Neto just as Seb always wanted.
No, the wrong one. Look, Dom, we did not move We moved to the Emirates to be signing the likes of Pedro Neto.
No. We signed Neto, Seb.
No, but
You
not
want an experienced goalkeeper.
Wrong one.
You've been on the whole winter about saying
You
Neto.
want an experienced goalkeeper.
What, Pedro Neto compared to Norbert?
Why are you comparing a goalkeeper to a winger anyway?
Oh my word!
Yeah, you want an experienced goalkeeper anyway.
Oh my word! Oh,
You wanted an experienced goalkeeper at the start of the window.
but not one that. Yes, okay, fair enough. But now I found he can't.
Yeah, fair enough.
What's that all about?
What? We signed an experienced goalkeeper like you wanted, and his name is Neto.
Insane about getting Neto.
You love the name Neto, and the
No.
fact it rhymes with Leno as well. What could
Hopefully, won't be
possibly go
picking the ball
wrong?
out of Neto too much.
Wait, Leno's a billion times better than Neto. Because Fulham wanted Neto as well, but they chose Leno because he's way better.
But
Yeah. Still, you wanted an experienced goalkeeper.
Obviously, Neto's cup tied, ain't he, Seb, as well, mate?
No,
Yeah.
that's what gets me. It's more that. It's more that. Because we were linked with him before we signed.
Yeah, but would you have rather splash 30 million on that Garcia guy?
Yeah, I get that. And to be honest with you, I did actually say that I didn't want to. I'd much rather we did sign him than splash 25 million on a backup keeper when there was other areas we needed to strengthen. I didn't agree with that. But why wasn't all this planned earlier? This is all the consequences you get when you leave things to the last minute.
Why wasn't the goalkeeper planned then, Seb?
What do you mean?
Well, you just said this thing wasn't planned.
Why wasn't
You know,
this situation planned when there were other areas in?
Hang on.
I mean, it wouldn't have been.
Hang on. No. I'm being serious now. Like, genuinely, I'm not trying to wind you up. I know it's fun.
What are you trying to say?
So you were saying it's not planned. I'm saying on the goalkeeper situation, there was a clear plan in place where we had a couple of options in place lined up for if and when Aaron Ramsdale left. Now, Aaron Ramsdale leaves. Whenever Aaron Ramsdale left, it was going to be a weakening of our goalkeeper position because we had two keepers capable of starting in the Premier League. So that was always going to happen.
I get that.
But we had a very clear plan in place, which was João Garcia and clearly it was Neto as a backup option.
Yeah,
there might have been others that had moved on. I don't think that you can criticise Arsenal there for not having a clear plan because you do not want to bring in a goalkeeper until you've shifted on your number 2 goalkeeper because suddenly you landed with 3 goalkeepers. Now, I do think the third position goalkeeper is very important, but Garcia or Neto probably don't want to come in as a third choice.
We signed 9 we signed 9 under this guy. We've had 9 in the Arteta era.
Yeah, but how many of them? Yeah, but not first choice goalkeepers. Let's be real about that. Well, we haven't. We've had 3 first choice goalkeepers, and there's been a progression.
Progression.
Well, there has been a progression. There's been a progression, not necessarily in quality, because I think Leno's a good goalkeeper. That
was definitely not a progression. No.
Well, it is a progression because we want to do something called playing out from the back, which we've definitely started doing more of when we went from Leno to Ramsdale and Ramsdale to Raya. Now, you can argue that Leno is a better goalkeeper, and in many ways, he is a better goalkeeper in various departments than the other two. However, that you've got to look at the tactical fit and the way we've transitioned playing the team. Ramsdale and then Raya, who is an upgrade on Ramsdale, has transitioned that team forward in terms of the way we are playing. That is why we've made those changes. There's a clear logical progression to those changes. The rest of the goalkeepers have been backup goalkeepers that we brought in. And actually, it's not necessarily uncommon to see a transition. What isn't common is to do what Chelsea have done, which is have about 9 goalkeepers, and you have no idea who your first choice is.
There's Chelsea fans in the chat saying, but there was one here saying Ray is so overrated. Well, look at yours.
No, he's not.
Look at yours. Look at your keeper situation.
Yeah,
you don't even know what you're doing.
I think those.
Who is your number 1?
Exactly. Who's your number 1? You don't even know what you're doing. Who is your number 1?
I genuinely don't know who Chelsea's number 1.
Seriously.
But in terms of
look,
there's a little bit of hyperbole going on about Raya at the moment because he's in form, sort of saying he's the world's best goalkeeper. I think he's that, but I think he's the world's best goalkeeper.
Who?
Ray is definitely not, but he is an incredibly good goalkeeper, and he's one of the top. He's one of the top goalkeepers in the Premier League right now. He's arguably the second best goalkeeper in the Premier League. After Alisson.
I can argue that.
Yeah,
So he is better than Leno then.
Well, listen. Look, it's easy for you to say that now because he's playing in a far better team with a far better team with a far better defense in front of him, and also
So Leno gets more opportunities to show what he can do then.
Yeah, well, he is. He's doing it.
Like letting the ball through his
That's
hands.
what he's doing. Every Fulham fan will tell you that he's been their best keeper since they had Edwin van der Sar.
Yeah, undoubtedly that's true. But you just said that Ray was the second best goalkeeper in the league after Alisson. So
right now, based on current form, you would say so. But in general,
great foresight from Arsenal then. Brilliant.
What do you mean? No.
They had foresight.
No, Ray, I had no problem with. It was all the other. It was before all that. And what was the plan? That was what I had the problem with.
Oh, there's a clear plan. There was a genuine clear plan, which was we want a goalkeeper who can play out from the back. Yeah, that is what Arsenal have done.
And even when Ray was going through his tough patches, I always said he was better than Ramsey, and Arsenal were right to do that. I always said that.
No, they definitely were. So there's your plan.
I always said that. In the end, it's been proved right.
Right. Well, what do you want them to be? Proved wrong. Like you
no.
Well, you can't criticise them for it.
No. Right. Listen to what I'm trying to say.
I'm trying to.
Listen to what I'm trying to say. Right. It was the movement from Leno to Ramsdale that was wrong. And also, for the backup, the second choice, they've been planning all summer.
No,
because they knew Ramsdale was going to go. Sorry?
It wasn't at the time.
No.
Ramsdale coming in for Leno was the right decision.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, undoubtedly.
Yes, it was.
Well,
Did you see the way Ramsdale came in at first?
Yeah, okay, he was good. But then he also got found out.
Yes, but it was the right decision at the time.
Sorry?
Leno conceded 9 bloody goals in his first 3 games.
So Ramsdale conceded a few goals in these games.
To use your point, he conceded 3 goals in a much worse side. He conceded 3.
Yeah, exactly. He had no defense in front of him. Did he ever have Saliba?
No. To be clear, when Ramsdale came in. When Ramsdale came in, he had the same defence as Leno. Leno conceded 9 goals in those first 3 games.
Pablo Mari was gone by then. He did not.
The defence wasn't exactly Saliba Gabriel, though, was it? I can't remember when Pablo Mari did.
No, I think he was.
Either way,
it was Ben White, Gabriel. It was Ben White and Gabriel he had in front.
What you mean the centre half partnership that we played all season? Look.
No, we had Ramsdale. That was actually not bad.
Yeah, right. But
there you go.
But Leno had that too.
Well.
No, he didn't. He did not.
With the exception of the first game where we had COVID.
He had Pablo Mari and Ben White in front of him in those first few games.
For the first game.
Ben White was not for COVID
against City. And Kolasinac a centre back against City when he's not even a centre back.
Well, it wasn't against City, was it?
That's what he had.
I don't think he did. I think Rory's right.
And all that time when Leno's been here, he's had David Luiz, Mustafi, Socrates in front of him.
Yeah, undoubtedly.
The reason it's
the right choice is look at 2 things.
What about before then?
What do you mean before then? Before then, that's all
that season he got dropped. What? He had a relatively decent back 4 in front of him at the time.
I just explained to you.
Gabriel, Luiz.
He never had Ben White and Gabriel start together. He did not.
Oh my God!
He had Pablo Mari, Ben White, and then against City, he had Kolasinac.
Gabriel wasn't the centre back he is today.
No, he's not.
At the time,
he's always been very good, and yes, he's got better.
Yeah, I'm not saying he hasn't.
He's got better since Saliba.
He was very rash.
Ben White has moved to the right,
but he was very rash at the time. Don't you agree?
A little bit, yeah. And I'm not going to lie.
There you go.
Rash now. I'm not going to lie.
Leno still had the same defense, pretty much the same defense other than Ben White. Ben White was the only adjustment in that defense.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
And we finished 8th that season.
And that one because of him. Leno, in fact, no, actually, Leno and Aubameyang were our 2 best players that season. If you actually
no, they weren't.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. If you go back, yes, they were. It was Leno and Aubameyang were by far
Pepe
carrying that team. Saving
Pepe.
Where's Pepe, Seb? Where's Pepe?
Yeah, Pepe was good.
I'm talking about the season after we won the FA Cup.
It It was that season.
I know
Yeah.
Aubameyang weren't our best players.
Yes, he was.
No,
He
Leno
won
was
us that
not.
FA Cup and all that. Then when Leno
What?
got injured, when Leno got
Aubameyang
injured,
and Leno were our best
everyone
players.
everyone was all saying, "Oh, that's it. That's our season screwed."
So,
all praying.
Sorry, I'm so confused.
What are you?
So you're telling me
I remember
the
that
season after we won the FA Cup, Aubameyang and Leno were our best players the following season.
Wait, hold on.
I was referring to the following season after we won the FA Cup.
No, I've got you.
By the way, I've just found the defence in front of Leno for his last game before he was replaced by Ramsdale.
Right, go on then.
Tierney was at left back. Gabriel Morales played with Ben White at centre half, and Tomiyasu at right back.
Right, look. Whoa.
I've just looked it up.
Right,
I literally just looked it up now.
Okay, fine. I'll look it up as well.
Yeah.
Look it up.
And I remember that game. That was I hated that.
What, the
But
5-0?
either way,
Yeah,
I think undoubtedly you can see the Arsenal transition there on that season.
That I can't find it.
You can see the Arsenal transition there, and that's why it's the right choice.
No.
And that's why it's the right choice.
The last game Leno played was
the point now is.
Then look how professional and how good he was that game. He saved us, and good he was.
It didn't save us. He had hardly anything to do.
He saved us for points at that game against Villa.
What a save I was expecting him to make?
Oh, it's
From
a
a free
world-class save. And plus, he made
No, it wasn't a world-class
He made
save.
one from
How was that a world-class save?
Watkins before. He made one from Watkins before. He literally saved us that game.
Keeper makes
It was an
safe shot.
important
He
match
didn't
at that time.
save. He had a good game, but he didn't save us.
It
He hardly
was.
had anything to do.
Because he had that free
Everyone
kick at
said-
the end. I was bricking it. I was so nervous. Because I remember, and then yes, Leno said, world class. That's how you come in when you're and being professional.
Yeah.
You're deputising for number 2. But when Ramsdale twice last season came in against Brentford because Rayo was still on loan, you saw the nonsense that went on there. Both games. In the first
Yeah,
game,
I actually agree with you. I actually agree with you.
Yeah.
now that's not me. You think you call that professional?
I don't think it was unprofessional. I think it's probably a question of trying too hard, isn't it? But
It was just common sense.
But
The thing is,
Both those games.
I reckon we treated Ramsdale worse, though.
No, we
That's the only thing I
didn't.
will say.
No, we didn't.
Yeah,
Everyone just spoke about it.
No, I don't.
Why when you deal, for God's sake,
It
and we
was
dropped
so
him?
overspoken.
That was at Southampton.
It was doing my head in. It was so over. And then you get his dad coming out in public and all. It was.
I don't
so
care about.
over-
Look, I don't care
so
about his dad, right?
overspoken
I couldn't
about.
care less what his dad's got to say. It's
But
irrelevant.
you didn't get any of this.
What I was going to say is, I don't think there's a
Guess what?
different. I don't think there's a different
Ramsdale-
treatment between the two
Ramsdale
goalkeepers.
signed a new contract, though.
Yeah,
I don't
okay, cool.
It happens. Professional football.
He signed a new
You
contract.
signed a
but it was
contract.
evident
You weren't
Number one.
looking to sign Rayo.
But we signed a new goalkeeper instead.
That was
We
a
dropped-
couple months after he signed it. It wasn't.
I think
before.
that's what's
We
called a
still
market.
signed a
No,
new contract in the summer.
Here's the thing, though. That's called a market opportunity. When Ramsdale was given his new contract, it was a reward for the good performances the season before, where he was excellent up until the point where he had a personal tragedy. And I think we had to remember sportsmen are people too. And he had the.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly.
And I think that did affect his performance. I think last season he was very much impacted by wanting to show how good he was. And I think it was an element of trying too hard. I think it's the right decision to let Ramsdale go for many reasons. He's not a number 2 goalkeeper. He's not a number 2 goalkeeper. He's a number 1 goalkeeper. And I think it was right for Arsenal. I think Leno was a very good goalkeeper. No question for Arsenal. I think it was the right decision to move on for the points I made before, which is it was to transition the team in a different way of playing. And Ramsdale enabled that. And Raya has taken that to a new level. Now, if I'm honest, I said this last week, I didn't think there was much difference between Raya and Ramsdale. I'm struggling to understand it. I was proved wrong over the last season that Raya was undoubtedly the better of the 2 goalkeepers. No question.
Yeah.
But the transition there is the right one, and signing Raya is the right decision. And right now, for me, he's the second best goalkeeper in the league after Alisson. I don't think there was another goalkeeper better than those 2 right now.
There we go.
Yeah,
There we go.
okay.
So that's a really good signing. It's a 10
Have
out
we
of 10.
spoken about the transfer window so far?
Well, Raya's the first one in, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he was actually he was. Well, but let's be honest, that was done last November. That was done last November. But yeah. Okay, you can count it, but it was really done last minute.
It's part of our spending this window, so it impacts our window.
It was an obligation. It was an obligation to buy if depending on how many games he played. And by November, it was Matt. It was reached, so it was done.
But what it does do is the reason it's a sign this summer is because it impacts our spending this summer.
Yeah,
it was of FFP. I remember that at the time.
So obviously Raya came in, Calaflori, Marino, Neto on loan, Sterling on loan. Of course, something that came out of nowhere, but it got done. And then obviously outgoings, we got rid of Eddie Nketiah. We got rid of Smith Rowe. A little bit of like heated about getting rid of Smith Rowe, but he obviously gone to Fulham. Nelson went on loan to Fulham as well. I swear, by the way, Fulham's literally the B-Tech Arsenal now. Yeah, you got Leno, William, Iwobi, Nelson, Smith Rowe. It's like,
William's gone, hasn't he?
Yeah, but obviously, then who else we sold? I mean, I think I'm around.
Have we lost Josh again?
Oh my days, he's been fine all this time.
So I don't think he mentioned Nuno. He didn't. I don't think he mentioned Nuno Tavares, did he? Which is an obligation.
Lokonga as well went to Seville.
Lokonga's gone on loan, but that's an option to buy. He's back. Josh, we were just saying that I think the next two you're going to mention were Tavares on an obligation to Lazio, and Lokonga on a option to buy.
Okay,
we sold Ramsdale as well. Don't forget that.
Ramsdale, of course. Vieira went on loan to obviously back to Porto.
Tino also went. That should never have happened.
Oh no, not this Patino. I'm not going into that. No.
We're moving on.
Fine, okay, fine. Move on from that.
No, I'm not going into Patino.
Okay, fine. I've had my piece on it.
I can't be bothered to do the fishing rod twice in a row.
I'm still cross about that.
But yeah, obviously
Fabio Vieira, Wookie's just
Vieira
out in the chat.
And back to Porto. So obviously we got rid of the players that I thought Nketiah was time to move on.
Nene got end of contract. Cedric end of contracts.
Cedric's
Arthur Okonkwo.
Oh yeah, well, he went to Wrexham.
Yeah, there we go.
And Carl Hine out on loan as well, which is why there was talk.
He went to Spain, didn't he? Somewhere.
Yeah, which is why there was talk. That's why there was talk of Mr. Tickle coming in.
Tickle.
He turned us down. He turned us down, by the way. As reported this morning, he decided to stay at Wigan and play first team football, which I've got respect for that. 22-year-old goalkeeper.
We signed Tommy Setford as well, the 18-year-old guy from Ajax as well.
What I didn't get about that is why wasn't he third choice?
He might. Well, like he was on the bench.
Why are we looking at third choice keeper?
He might play against Carabao Cup. You never know, mate.
I had Cosy Dewberry as well. He went to Brighton. Cosy Dewberry.
Yeah, but now he went on loan to Blackburn.
That guy looked good in the academy, man. But
then he went on loan to Blackburn, so now he's gone back out on loan.
Yeah,
he tried to keep him. He didn't want to stay. He turned it down.
Carl Hine's another one.
Yeah, and Norton Cuffy for 2.5 mil as well.
Yeah, he went.
There we go.
Vika Bieref went to Sturm Graz.
Seb, let me come to you first for this. Full rating of the window out of 10. And why?
It should be no more than a 5. No more than that.
What, do you give it 5, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's good reasons for it. Firstly, I don't think we've got enough cover. I think we've left ourselves very thin. Secondly, we didn't buy that lethal striker, which we really needed. Thirdly, none of our signings, apart from Ray, if you count it, start for us. Third, Sterling. Now, look, of course I'm going to find reasons, and many Arsenal fans are going to find reasons to pretend it. But come on. Are you honestly telling me that was the plan all along?
Well, no, Arsenal have said it wasn't.
Come on. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Arsenal were not going to do that deal if it wasn't for Chelsea allowing a loan or planning to rip up his contract. They weren't prepared to pay a fee. I'm just like, come on. When do you see that? don't.
But they didn't pay a fee, and they're paying 50% less of the wages. So you could argue they've negotiated a good deal for him.
Oh, man. And why we brought in that striker that we needed? See, chances like the weekend, you can see that he needed a plan B. Something else, something different up front. And yes, I do like Havertz, and yes, I do like Jesus, but they're not consistent enough to win you a league, to do it every week. Whilst I said earlier, and I've said on previous podcasts, the big difference between us and City is Haaland. That gets you those extra goals, that can get you over the line to be champions. And we've not gone and done that. And Dom, just to your point, I'm not saying there is another Haaland out there. Of course there isn't. But are you honestly not telling me there's better strikers out there that can get us more goals? You're not, and to potentially get us over the line. You're not telling me there's no killers out there. There 100% is. Ivan Toney, I'm sorry, he gets you those extra goals. Yes, he does. Did you see those seasons he had before he got the ban? Banging them in. And even when he came back from Brentford to start, he was banging them in. And in games, when you're up against it, like when you play City or even Liverpool, up against it, defending for your lives, you've got one chance. You've got one chance to put that away. He puts that away. And also, when a game like that needs a little bit of bite and someone to bully the defenders to the defence to get through, Ivan Toney does that perfectly. Victor Osimhen does that perfectly. And Gyökeres can score loads of goals to do it. And all three of them were available. And people can say, oh, but we wanted Isaac. Oh, we wanted Sesko. Okay, Sesko signed a contract and we moved on. And Isaac, if this is true that he wanted to stay, we didn't even try to make him available.
Well, again, how do you know that?
Because we didn't even try and put in a bid. It never came in public. But you honestly not telling me there wasn't other options out there? And
do you want me to come back or not, or do you want me to let you finish?
And also, on the wing, I'm sorry, I wanted Neto. And I stand by that.
Not Neto.
Oh, come on, you know who Pedro is. And before this Chelsea fan comes back in the chat spamming me, she has done all night. Wait, Charlie, but come on, behave yourself. Look, what is more of a risk and what is more sustainable to do to help you push on? Get Sterling, who was trying to literally force his way out and only trying to come in because of a last-minute panic, and you know who's not going to start every week, and you know who's not going to give competition to Saka, or by Neto, who, yes, has had some injuries.
Who does give you competition to Stata?
Neto, 110%. Yes, he does. Neto gives you
start.
Neto gives you competition. Nico Williams gives you competition. Yes, okay, he didn't want to come.
Are you telling me Sterling doesn't give you competition?
Not really.
No.
He is not.
How can Pedro Neto provide? How can Pedro Neto
He is
provide
one of the best wingers in the league if he's fit.
How? Okay, yeah, when fit.
Don't forget, he's going to be playing in a better team than he is at.
Yes.
Well, he would have played in a better team at Arsenal than he would at Wolves and Chelsea. And that is a fact.
I mean, you tell me that Neto is going to provide better competition for Saka, but what's the point when he's hardly available? How is he good competition for Saka when he's hardly available?
He's available now.
Well, how long for?
He's not injured right now.
Again, it is an unmistakable fact. Over 5 years, he has missed 41% of games. That is, if he missed that in 1 year, you can put it down to 1. He's done that over 5 years. That's not good.
Not good enough, Seb.
Well, there's other time to do. Look, you're not telling me Leroy Sané would have been a better option. You're not telling me that. I think
No.
he will. 120%.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think
Yes,
he's not.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
He's washed.
He's not washed. Sterling, he's not
He
washed.
is
If
washed.
you think Sterling, he's less washed
There's
than
still a
Sterling.
player in there, Sterling.
Sorry?
By the way, on Tony, how many non-penalty goals per Tony has 3.7 non-penalty goals. It takes him 3.7 games to score a goal in the Premier League.
Also,
Take
can
out
I just
penalties,
say,
by the way,
Sane's injury prone as well.
and probably more expensive.
Is who else? There's other options. Kingsley
Overmars,
Coleman.
can we get him?
Coleman, I agree with you on Coleman.
The Kingsley Coleman one, I could kind of understand because that would have been a risk.
Yeah, he wanted to stay at Bayern.
Risk?
But.
Yeah, it's not a risk.
So why is Coleman a risk, Seb?
But.
Because I agree with you. Why is Coleman a risk?
I haven't finished. I'm coming on.
How is Coleman a risk?
I'm coming on to that bit. Coleman is more of a risk because first of all, he doesn't have Premier League. He doesn't have Premier League experience.
He's won everything, though.
And yes, he is also injury prone. Would I rather?
But he's won everything, though.
And he is.
Yes. Neto won everything.
Would I rather have him over Sterling? Yes. Would I rather have Coleman over Sane? No. Would I rather have Coleman over Neto? No. It wouldn't have been a bad.
Bro, Coleman has won as many league titles as Pedro Neto's got goals in the last 5 years.
He was playing at Wolves. Wolves aren't expected to win a title.
But if he's the best winger in the league,
one of the best.
One of the best.
Who's how many are better than Neto then, in your view?
What, you're coming in the league?
In the league,
Okay, Salah.
Yeah.
Saka. Okay, Saka, yes.
Foden.
He's not a winger.
He's not a winger.
Well, he plays. No, because Alvarez played in the 10 last year.
Not counting people that are not natural wingers, because then you might as well. Because then you can put those in the conversation. Salah, Sterling, Salah, Saka.
Sterling.
No, not Sterling. Not Sterling.
Trossard.
Bernardo Silva's not really a winger. He's more of a number 10.
Doku.
Trossard.
No. He's way better than Doku. Overrated.
Trossard.
Isn't he more of a number 10 as well?
Well, come on. He plays on the left for Arsenal mostly.
He also plays in them down the middle, and I think he's better.
Oh well, I
think he's more better in the middle. No, that doesn't count.
Well, you're just discounting players now that play on the wing.
Discounting players that aren't really proper natural wingers. Saka and Salah are natural.
But how are you discounting Trossard when he plays on the left wing for Arsenal?
He plays in the middle as well.
No, he doesn't. When was the last time he played through the middle?
Yes, he does. Any interchanges. That's how.
When was the last time he played through the middle?
Neto gives you width, gives you balance, gives you width. Gives you everything.
He gives your physio something to do.
He gives you everything. He gives
you availability, though, does he?
He gives you loads of assists from the wides. We've always had a problem.
He doesn't give you availability, though, does he?
Apart from Saka and Sterling, can you name me think of any other winger that is better?
Sterling? Well, you just signed Sterling.
Saka and Salah.
He loves Sterling.
Saka and Salah. Any others? And anyone else in the chat? And anyone else?
Palmer a winger?
Luis Diaz.
Yeah,
Luis Diaz. I agree.
I like him, but
you know you want to say yes.
That's a tricky one. I do like.
What's that Brighton winger, the left winger from Japan?
Could I just answer this question, by the way?
No.
Koba won those trophies on his own. He literally scored in the Champions League final to win Bayern Munich their sixth Champions League.
Coleman.
So yeah, he was involved.
Yeah, he's a good player. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to give him a tug, Seb? Just to lower that voice a bit.
Yeah. I just thought that would have been a little bit more of a risk than that. That would have been. But I'm not discounting him as a player. I like him as a player.
How is that a risk, but Pedro Neto isn't?
Because Pedro Neto's got Premier League experience, and he's one of the best.
And he's injured 14. And he's injured
14.
Leroy Sane done it in this league, and in fact, he was really, really good before we went to Bayern.
He's also injured 14% more of the time than Coleman.
Would you say
Right?
Jay Rodriguez is a number 9 because he's Premier League experienced?
No. Yeah, where I'm coming from. Oh man!
Like,
Look, Neto is undoubtedly a very good winger. Okay,
World
the
class.
issue, the issue,
he's not. He's
he's not world class. He's a very good
Yeah.
winger. To repeat this, but you can't sign someone that's 40 with a record like that injury wise. You just can't. Now, injuries can happen at any time. We found that with Moreno, right? He's come in, he's missed 3 games in 3 years or something daft like that. It's under 5 anyway, and he's now out for 8 games. He's missed 1. He's going to miss at least another 7. It can happen at any time. But when a player has an injury record over 5 years and a multitude of injuries and has missed 41.6 or 41.4% of games, I'm sorry, you can't take that risk on a player. Now, Arsenal, I don't think wanted Raheem Sterling. In fact, I don't think about it. They have come out and said Raheem Sterling wasn't the plan. The plan was clearly Nico Williams, right? That was clearly the plan. What their backup options were, I don't know. I think they probably had some. We just don't know what they were. Raheem Sterling was a market opportunity. I don't like the phrase. I think it's overused. But this was a market opportunity where they got a player with 18 goals and assists last year, has won everything pretty much there is to offer apart from international stuff. He knows Arteta. He knows the system. He's an experienced player that can operate on the right and left. I think it's a good signing. What I do think it does as well is it allows us financially to go out in January if there's an opportunity to buy someone, and or next season to go out and buy the winger that we actually wanted. So I think this is a really good and smart pickup from Arsenal. I think what is disappointing is we've not got the target we wanted, and as fans we feel a sense of disappointment because Raheem Sterling wasn't who we wanted in the summer. We wanted, the fan base wanted Pedro Neto. The fan base wanted Nico Williams. Undoubtedly better players right now than Raheem Sterling. Neto, as I say, is injury prone, and that's why I'm fine with it. And that's where the sense of disappointment and letdown comes in. But that for me, Raheem Sterling is a very good sign, particularly when we're paying less than 50% of his wages. Chelsea are literally paying him to play against him and help us win a title, hopefully.
Do you think we're waiting for Nico Williams next summer?
I think he's probably top of our list. Yeah, I think we do need to have a plan B. I'm sure we do. Arsenal notoriously don't tell us who it is. We've seen signings come before where we had no idea it was about to happen, and even exits this summer. I mean, Fabio Vieira is the ultimate. We signed him without anyone knowing it was going to happen, and we loaned him without anyone knowing it was going to happen as well. So we are notoriously good at keeping things quiet. I don't know who the plan B was. I'd like to hope there was a plan B. But yeah, I think Nico Williams was the target.
What was the plan B?
So overall rating, Seb, for you again, 5.
5. It's been a poor window. It's been a really disappointing, underwhelming window. I'm sorry, I have to say.
They're doing all out.
I'm telling you now, if there's no trophy this season, we miss out on the title, it's all going to be back onto this. And then, yes, people do need to be held accountable. The thing is, it wasn't me. It was him that came out and said, don't worry, be patient. You won't be disappointed.
Can I just provide some context to that? I just provide some context to that?
It was him that came out and said last when we lost out to Bayern Munich in the Champions League, we're light in attack. We need to address that area right up front as well. We got no killer. He said all this. He's can
I just provide some context to that first one, by the way, because it's come out, the Sky journalist that reported it has come out to say that actually he was talking to a couple of fans about the Mikel Moreno specifically when he said that. Now, at first, when Seb pointed out to me, I was like, that's a damn stupid thing to say. Like, you're Edu, you've got to be more media savvy. But the Sky journalist that reported it has apparently said he was talking specifically about Mikel Moreno now, which does change the context of that quote. But if it was a quote about the entire window, which it now turns out it wasn't, as I said to Seb at the time, it's a damn stupid thing to say. That's no media training gone into that thought whatsoever. Because for some people, the only acceptable window that won't be disappointed is signing, Mbappe, Williams, De Jong, and Virgil van Dijk. I don't know. You know what I'm saying. And for others, it's a slightly more prudent window. So it's a damn stupid thing to say. But as it turned out, he was talking about Mikel Moreno specifically with that quote.
Well, why? Why him?
Because he was asked about Miko Moreno and was he going to be coming, and he said, "Be patient, and you won't be disappointed." And he was talking about
Look how long they,
reportedly now. He
and
was
look
saying
how
about
long
Miko
they
Moreno.
take all these deals to get done, which also minimises the time for us to get our targets and all that. Because the longer you waste time and all
Do
that,
you believe?
the
Do you
faster
believe?
your
Do
targets
you
will
believe?
go.
Do you believe that Arsenal are only capable of dealing with one player at a time?
Yes. Well, it seems
Why?
like yes.
Why?
Well,
Like-
this is how it comes across.
Well, it might come across that way, but do you honestly believe that's what's happening? That actually it's like,
Well,
oh,
it keeps
you've got
happening.
a top centre forward available. I'm really sorry, I can't do anything because I'm talking to Miguel Moreno, and I can't do two things at once. Do you honestly believe that's the case?
Well, this summer, what have you seen?
I've seen us buy 4 players in the 4 positions that we needed.
But that's one.
Well, we signed 2 players on deadline day, so clearly we can do more than 2 things at once.
Oh come on! Oh come
I
on!
don't, you just said you don't believe that Arsenal can't do 2 things at once and be talking to multiple players at once. There's clear evidence there they can.
Well, where was that all done? What was that all done during the window? No,
Oh, who's to say it wasn't being done during the window?
No, actually, Raheem Sterling was done after we signed Neto. Neto was first, then it was Sterling.
Oh,
actually,
brilliant.
yeah.
Brilliant. A few hours apart. Do you honestly believe they went, sorry, Raheem, we can't actually talk to you right now because we just got to do Neto. So hold on, because we do Neto, we get that all done, and then we'll talk to you. No, you're talking to Neto, you finish the conversation with Neto, you talk to Sterling, you ring back Neto, you talk to Sterling. There's no way the deal might have been concluded at like 1 a.m. or whatever it were, but there is no way they haven't started conversations with Raheem Sterling and his people until they concluded the Neto deal. It's just nonsensical. It's going back to the referee, Chris Kavanagh. It makes no logical sense.
Well, it's how it came across in the window that it did, with how long it was taking for everyone to get done.
To you, maybe, but I mean, honestly, it doesn't. I can't understand how that can be a rational position. I genuinely can't understand that one.
Where were those other signings during the time when we were trying to get Calafiori? Where were those other signings during the time when we had to try to get Miko Moreno? Where were those other signings done?
Oh, so you want a signing every day? Undoubtedly, signings take a long time at Arsenal, right? And some deals take longer than others.
They don't need to if people actually get on their skates and do things properly.
But we've seen evidence of other clubs also taking a long time to get deals.
Not necessarily, not as long as this. Unless it's a big deal, a big deal. That's because that's supposed to. But these were really simple deals.
What?
Moreno
how do you know what deals are simple and what aren't?
Well, look at the price.
Oh, so the price dictates how simple a deal is?
Yes.
Why?
It does. If you
check
on the current contract situation, all that, that's simple. Yes.
Why does the price dictate whether a deal's simple or not? Seriously?
Because bigger deals, longer deals are harder to do. And remember, those the ones that take ages and ages to run up. Because also you've got to think about the structure of the payment. You've also got to talk about how much is going in. You've got to talk about.
Why don't you have to do that for a deal that's 10 million? Why is it only a deal that's 100 million?
Not necessarily. That's more simple enough to pay up front and all that. That's more simple.
Yeah, but you might not want to.
Well, big deals obviously going to take longer because there's lots of things you've got to go through.
Well, Mbappe was a free, and that took 5-6 months to negotiate that contract.
Yeah, but the reason that took 5-6, look, it was done straight after the Champions League final.
No, it was announced just after that.
But it was done then. Real Madrid did not take all summer and then announce towards deadline day.
No, because they started in January.
A year ago.
No, because they don't work like that.
Well, they do because they started at best in January when they could officially.
Because that was the only time they could. They couldn't start it before.
And plus, right, and they still didn't finish it till May.
Because yes, but it got done as soon as this window, as soon as they found it done.
Well, we got 5 minutes. I think the window was. I think in isolation.
And plus, how's the window very highly? Did you see that bench of the weekend? He's not even fixed that bench. Did you see that bench of the weekend? It was disgusting.
Well, you had Sterling, Jesus.
Sterling
to that. I know. I'm just saying he wasn't available for the bench. You had Sterling, Jesus, Tomiyasu to that bench.
There was no cover. There was no cover.
Do you mean there's no cover?
There's barely any cover, especially in midfield. What if Odegaard goes down? Who's coming in?
That's the one area I would say there is almost literally no cover. You'd probably have to
because
play
when they
Havertz.
loaned out Vieira.
But who comes in? Who comes in for? Yeah. Oh, so sorry, Vieira, the person you wanted to sell all window because he wasn't good enough for Arsenal, you're now saying we shouldn't have let him go because he's got to be covered for Odegaard. He can't be
There's no
both.
cover now, so you might as well keep him.
Well, Wanyeri, why is Wanyeri not that cover?
He's a young kid, for crying out loud.
And Vieira's pulled up trees, so why not take the risk on a young kid? At Liverpool last year, they had that Bradley at right back, young kid. You know, he came in. He's a young kid.
Was I cover up?
Who's coming? Yeah, Mainu, good example. Young lads can come in all the time and play well. Doesn't mean Ranieri will. But I think if you look at this window, right? If you look at the window in pure isolation against what we wanted at the start of the season, Sebi is right. It's a 5 out of 10. I think we sold really well, by the way.
We didn't
really well.
We didn't replace really.
No, but we did. But here's the thing. So it's probably that. The reason I'm
excited, as much as Nketiah needed to go, good, right decision. But we're not excited about him going. We were excited about what was coming in afterwards.
All right, if you let me finish, I'm just about to make that point. Right, it's the reason it's a 5 out of 10 window in isolation. Jesus, the reason it's a 5 out of 10 in isolation is because it's not an exciting window. We probably wanted De Jong. We probably wanted, I don't know, Gyökeres. We probably wanted Nico Williams.
You got to make these players available.
Just let me finish, please, God.
Sam, come on, allow him, man. Let him finish.
Yeah, so it's a 5 out of 10, right? He is right. However, you then look at the sales. The sales have been really, really positive. We have replaced with the exception of Nketiah. I would argue there is a replacement for everyone that went out of this window, and an upgrade with the exception of Neto replacing Ramsdale. Calafiori comes in, strengthens the defense. Moreno comes in. He will start at 8 when he's fit, and he is an upgrade on what went out in Smith Rowe. Much as I love Smith Rowe, I think ultimately Moreno will play. Smith Rowe didn't. Sterling comes in. He's an upgrade on what's his face, Nelson. And he's probably the upgrade he's a dual upgrade for Nketiah. Now, I think we're one short in attack, just to be clear. And Wanyeri comes in to replace Vieira because Vieira wasn't playing, right? So we have addressed, but we've also addressed the positions. We wanted an attacker. Now, it's a wide player, not a striker. And that will, I think probably the striker would have been the right one, but I've always said I knew it was going to be the wide forward. We got the number 8 we wanted and a start at number 8, and we upgraded the defense and we replaced Ramsdale, which we were always going to have to do. So we did the 4 things we wanted. Now, if there had been a lot of players gone in this window that were exciting, I think that makes it a 5 out of 10 window. But I think with the context of the window, I think this is more of a 7 out of 10 window because I look around the Premier League and go, who am I jealous of that other players have signed, other clubs have signed? Almost no one. I mean, Spurs spent £65 million on Solanke up front after one good season. So I think that context has to be given into account, and we are now well placed to either strike in January and to improve next season. And I do think we have the cover across the team. I think we have more depth actually than City. I think City starting 11 is still ahead of us, and that's the opportunity, and that's where the questions will be asked at the end of the season. As Seb rightly points out, if we don't win things, but I think the window has done enough to get us the league. And if we don't, then you have to look and say why it is. Is it because we haven't built a good enough squad, or is it because Arteta hasn't got what the squad should do? And that one of those two things is probably going to have to be where we judge at the end of the season.
Well, I do worry about the lack of cover and lack of variety of options, and
I think that's the same at City and Liverpool.
We don't have a lethal striker. That does worry me.
But I think it's the same at City and Liverpool in terms of the depth, right? Well, they've got the lethal striker.
They do. Both of them have a lethal striker. We don't.
But I don't. Who's
Salah.
Liverpool striker?
Liverpool
no, but he's not their striker though, is he? They've got a lethal forward.
He's out there. He's still you can still class him as a lethal striker. Yeah. The amount of goals he scores a season, we don't have that.
No, but I'd look at our depth and say our depth probably is better than theirs, which means that if Haaland and Salah went down, I think that's the end of their season. You could make the same argument for us with Odegaard, but I think you can make the same. You could make a similar sort of case with things like Liverpool as well, with other players or De Bruyne at City. I think we've got the depth more than they have, in my view. I think the question will be, is it going to be enough come the end of the season? And only time will tell on that. But I see no reason why we can't win the league this season based on what we have.
Well, it's a big risk what we're doing here. We've left ourselves thin.
I don't think we've left ourselves thin. I think the question
Yeah,
is,
we have.
are we going to score enough goals? That's going to be the question.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a problem for quite a bit for some of last season before.
Well, we did score over 90 goals
before
last season.
January. I said before January,
yeah.
that was a problem.
Yeah, it was. Well, Havertz wasn't working
And
in
it's
central
now
midfield,
starting
was
to
he?
come back again. We're starting to see those problems creep up.
No, not now. We scored 7 goals in 2 games. You know, it's not horrific against decent sides. I think the problem last season was that it didn't work at that number 8 midfield.
We haven't scored 5.
5, sorry, 5. I meant 5. So
5 and
apologies.
3.
Right.
Well,
5
City
and 3.
have scored. Look how many City have scored. Look how many Liverpool have
Well, we
scored.
discussed Haaland earlier, right?
Because that's the difference.
Yeah, and that could be the difference at the end of the season, but there is also no striker that is Haaland. But that's my view on it anyway. I don't know what Rory thinks, because he hasn't had his say on his window.
Oh, man.
Yeah, like I agree. I think the transfer window has been very underwhelming. I'm not really complaining too much about the signings coming in because I think the signings are good. I think I don't really mind Sterling coming in if you ask me. He can bring good depth in the attacking areas, but the trouble is, if we would have brought in Sterling on loan and a number 9, then I think Arsenal fans would be a little bit more optimistic. You know what I mean?
I think that's absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. We've only replaced Nelson, with Sterling. But where's the Vieira replacement? Where's the Nketiah?
I think that's Nwaneri. It's Nketiah we haven't replaced.
Yeah, well, again, will Arteta rely on Nwaneri? Say if Odegaard gets injured, you reckon he's going to rely on Nwaneri?
I think what he'll probably do there. I think what he'll do there is I think he'll drop Havertz into that 10 or Trossard. I think that's what he will do. But Nwaneri will get minutes in that position. I think Nwaneri really will be used what Vieira was supposed to be used for last season, but then didn't, which is 10, 15 minutes to go and the game's won. I think that's when Nwaneri will get his minutes, to be blunt. But that's no different to last. That's no different to last season either.
Yeah. Also, I was wondering, why couldn't we get Sterling and Neto early on in the transfer window? Because I was hearing, oh my days, it's the Euros. You can't make business. So why couldn't we get Sterling and Neto when they didn't actually go to the Euros? Sterling could have had 1 or 2 games in pre-season, whether that's the Emirates Cup or the friendly against Leverkusen. We could have got Sterling a lot earlier. Now, it may not have been the player Edu and Arteta initially wanted, but still.
I think that's the answer. I think that's the answer. With Neto, it's because Ramsdale hadn't moved on, and I think with Sterling, it's because that wasn't the plan.
He was always going to move on.
It wasn't the plan.
Yeah, like you can say the deal might have been differently back then, but at the end of the day, look at the way Havertz panned out when he had a pre-season. He had time to adapt, and look at the player he is now. So you're telling me we couldn't get Sterling?
I think we could have done. I think we could have done. I'm just saying why I don't.
Who didn't go to the Euros?
Yeah, but I think that's why we didn't, because it wasn't the plan. So I get why we waited on Ramsdale, because Ramsdale damn nearly didn't leave, by the way. But I think Sterling wasn't the plan. Sterling was not the plan, and that's why it was left so late. Arsenal have said it wasn't the plan. They were not planning on signing Raheem Sterling.
Yeah, I understand that, but I don't think anyone was available.
I agree with you. I agree with your premise.
Well,
right? During the Euro,
there weren't many available. Come on.
In the attacking market.
Come on, 60 million on Neto.
Yeah, come on.
Are you having a laugh?
50. He didn't even go for 60. He went for just over 50.
60 million for a player that's
I'd do it.
Averaged how many games?
It's worth a risk you take on. I would have done it.
Yes, but the risk. You don't
take a risk on players that you don't really either can't rely on or don't trust. Right. That's why we've gone for a loan deal of Sterling here. Like, it's not as exciting signing. It's a smart one, but it's not exciting, and that's why the window feels flat. But would I take our business over City's? Yes. Would I take our business over Liverpool? Yes. Would I take our business over Spurs? Yes.
But the thing is, we're trying to overcome them. We're not trying to
Also, therefore, we close the gap.
We're trying to overcome them. And when
to be fair, Liverpool are trying to
spending big, and they were the 2 least busiest in the summer. That didn't take their spending to over 40. That didn't take their spendings to over 40.
To be fair.
Didn't spend their spendings to over 40 million. The fact is, you go and do what's required, because we're trying to surpass them, especially City. I I think we have
But to be
overtaken
fair-
Liverpool, but we need to overtake, and that's what you do. You do everything you can to make sure you win the league this season.
But
There's
that's
no
the question.
point-
You do everything you can.
You've mentioned a few times. You've mentioned a few times. Oh, but they're trying to wait for the big one next summer. Which, yes, okay, but also, are you planning for this season or next season? Then what are you planning for? Because I
Well, you
want
should
to
be
win
planning
the league
for
this
that.
season. It's not
To be fair,
guaranteed.
I agree with you. I agree with you on the Man City standpoint. Yeah, we're trying to overtake City, so City don't really need to address too many positions. But Liverpool, to be fair, we have finished above them in the last 3 seasons, so they're trying to.
We've overtaken them.
come on.
City, we want to overtake.
So yeah, I'd rather have our transfer window than Liverpool's because again, they've been underwhelming. But Man City, we're trying to overcome them. And
Right.
back onto the point, back onto the point about the teams like Tottenham and Chelsea. Like these teams are also trying to overcome us. So obviously they're going to address players, but Tottenham again, like I would rather have our transfer window than Tottenham's because all they've done is bring in players for the future. The only player they brought in to get in their first team is Solanke for 60 odd million.
Yeah,
so
that was.
Look, I was expecting teams anyway who finished below us.
You'd expect teams like Tottenham and Manchester United to go for players to try and
Man United.
That's what we did, right? And they're going to have to do more business. That's what we did.
I get that.
That makes sense.
We didn't need to do them. I get that they've had to go out and do it because they need more than what we do. But the thing is, we hadn't had to do very much. We didn't need to do very much. I said before the window started, we need 4 positions. 4. I think
which we addressed at least 3 of them.
I said left back, centre mid,
which we got,
winger,
which we got.
No, we
didn't.
We
didn't get.
Didn't go striker.
No, I know. I just said that. I just said got, didn't get.
I think we needed 4 positions. That was all.
Yeah.
And
we got 3 out of 4
just to get us over the line.
Yeah,
and I just don't think we quite have done that.
We got 3 out of 4. And the thing is, though, I look at the context of the market again, and this is a really important point. The reality is, you could have triggered Gyökeres. You could have. Osman has priced himself out with a move. I think he'll move in January. It'd be interesting to see what happens in January. But when Chelsea aren't meeting his wages, you know he's asking for a lot. They were probably the 2 strikers that were available. Tony, you can argue, but again, I just look at his non-penalty goals, and it's nearly 1 in 4. It's not good enough, and I think he's a pain in the arse, frankly. And the fact that no Premiership side went for him is probably quite telling on how Premier League teams see him. So I think you've got to look at the market there and go, actually, teams really didn't go. The top teams really didn't do a lot this summer, which tells you probably the top players that they need. And when you're at that level, there are less players that you want because of your ability, your level. And I think that's where that context is. If lots of top players had gone this season, if Gyökeres had gone, if Osman had properly gone, if Nico Williams had properly gone, if De Jong had gone, and Arsenal hadn't got any of those, Isak had gone, Bruno G at Newcastle had gone, these players had gone, and we hadn't gone in for them, then I think this window becomes suddenly from a 5 to a 3. I think given they haven't, that's what makes me slightly more.
You got to make these players available.
Well, clearly you can't, because otherwise someone would have done it. Well, no big club did. Again, no big club did. That's the point.
Yeah. Also, I just can't. I can't examine that Arsenal Football Club this summer have had a 22 million net spend. I think
it's 22. No, it is. It is a 22 million net spend, which
that's beyond unacceptable.
We have I can work the maths out. That is correct.
Yeah, 22 million net spend. I mean, I get onto my next question. Like, when have the board exactly, like Liverpool did in the past, right? Jurgen Klopp first came in through the door. Klopp went to FSG, or I don't know who it was, but I think it was FSG, right? They were still there, right? Back then. Yeah. He was like, yeah, okay, this is my squad. This is my defence. This is my goalkeeper. I need upgrades, mega upgrades. So we've got Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, and they ended up winning the league.
Exactly.
When have we seen the same with Arsenal here?
Just quickly.
They've spent a lot of money, but let's be honest, other than Declan Rice, he's not really had that moment where, right, Edu, Kroenkes, I want this player. Go and get them. Go and get them for me, so I can implement them into my system ASAP.
I'll very quickly answer that question because I think Josh needs to wrap us up. Is that right, Josh?
Yeah, it is, man. It is.
Yeah. So really quickly to answer that question, I think we have by and large gone out and got players. Not always the first target. So Trossard was a second target behind Mudryk, which is quite thankful. But I think Arteta was quite adamant he wanted Havertz last year. He got him. He wanted Declan Rice. He got him. He wanted Jurrien Timber. He got him. He got Martin Odegaard. He wanted him. He eventually got Raya at the second time of asking. So I think we have gone out and got some of these players.
Yeah, but I'm talking
are they as exciting? Yeah, but have they gone out and got the mega ones? Well, we don't know who Arteta wanted. To be fair, and I don't think we can accuse the Kroenkes of not splashing cash. When you look at our net spend in the last few years, they haven't always been exciting players. And you point those two from Liverpool, and they're very exciting players, and they energise a fan base. And it did get them a heck of a long way incredibly quickly. I also think, though, that in those days you need a kind of 15-ish players, actual quality players, and the rest could be a little bit all-rounds. You look at that treble-winning side of Manchester United, and it had, Phil Neville in it. Jonathan Greening played in the Champions League final, for Christ's sake. I'm going back even further then, but it's just because I quite like that side, even though they were main rivals. That it shouldn't have been as good as it was, but now you need 20 players that can play, which is basically what Man City have got, is 20 quality players. I think we're probably at 18, 19, but I think our next three behind that are much better than them because I genuinely don't know who they are. But I think those two, that you can do it quicker there with those two. But I get your general premise that we, bar Rice, we haven't gone out and bought a wow player, but I think we have got our targets and we have spent money.
Yeah, for sure, man. Listen, guys, I'm gonna have to wrap this up. We've been going for almost 2 hours, but always a pleasure with you guys, and obviously everyone tuning in the chat as well. Seb, I'll start with you, mate. You got any articles coming up yourself?
Yeah, I'm going to be just writing a review of the summer, a brief review of the summer, everything that's gone on. I'm just going to be talking about that. So yeah, I've got that coming up.
Nice one, mate. Rory, bro, you got anything coming up?
International break, innit? Content's dead.
International
So
break.
I've not got a clue.
Dom, mate, big up. I know you ain't got a channel or anything like that. He needs one though, don't he, Seb and Rory, man? This guy knows his stuff. He needs a channel, man. Like I was watching you the other day on the NFL one, yeah, and you was hosting the show. I think it was a few months ago you did it, but you was superb at it, man.
Well, that's very kind of you to say so. I host the draft day stream every year because Tim, whose channel it is at the draft in the stadium for when we pick a player and have another season of failure. But yeah, I was on Tim, which is Online Big Blue NFL. I think we're going to be doing a weekly show. And while the international break is dead, I can focus on NFL because it kicks off this season. So, but yeah. That's where you can find me, and you can as always find me causing mayhem on Twitter when I like to poke at people when they've made a point. And we'll see about the channel, but at the moment I'm just enjoying coming on here and having some fun.
No, always welcome, man. Absolute pleasure, obviously, with all you guys as always. It is international break now, so yeah, great. That's gonna be fun, mate. For like,
there'll be no injuries then. I'm telling you now.
Yeah, a few of our players are going international break. I think Party's going to AFCON.
He's gone.
So
Party's gone. He's already gone out.
Why don't get injured, Party. But yeah,
physio, go with him like you did before. We can't.
I think he has. I think physio's gone too. I could be.
Cannot afford to do it. Play midfield. Just play Jorginho and Havertz, won't we? I know the God.
You just can't do it.
Zinchenko, maybe.
Oh yeah, Zinchenko.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad option playing him in midfield.
But he's not going to play him in midfield. He's not played in midfield.
He might have to. He might have to.
Wouldn't be a bad option. I quite welcome it. He's not.
Yeah, I
Arteta's
wouldn't be able
not
to.
going to do it though.
We can talk about it after the international break, I'm sure.
Yeah,
No,
big
it's
up
2
everyone
months.
who-
It's 2 months.
Big up to Reese's
It's,
TV,
yeah,
man.
it's not
2
4
months. But yeah, big up to you, bro. Big up everyone else. Big up Peppermint. Everyone else who tuned in. Big up my guy BX as well, bro. Absolute real one as well. Big up to everyone else who tuned in earlier, guys. You lot are real ones. And yes, we're getting out of here. I probably will be back tomorrow or something. I don't know what yet because this has
Thanks to
been
those
great.
guys. Also, thanks to those guys in those chats who have tuned in. Listen, the thing
The
is, you can
Brighton
have
fans and the Chelsea
the thing
fans.
is, and other rival fans I see this as well. The thing is, you're welcome to join in the chat, and you're welcome to have your opinions. But the reason I was having a side pop wasn't because of your opinions. It was the ones that were deliberately trolling it for that. That's what I didn't like. Is that okay? The thing is, you're welcome to come in, but you're also welcome to be respectful of that law. So that also means in the chat, you keep it clean, you keep it tidy, you don't troll us. Big us up as well at the start, which some of you have, and fair play to you.
Big
you
up
must
to them, mate.
Don't troll because it's Josh's channel here. It's not my channel.
Respect.
Or Dom's or Rory's. So just
Respect.
remember who you're representing and who you are. Please.
Well said, man. Well said, Seb.
Great
mate.
speech, Obama.
Earlier.
I agree, and I think
in the chat.
I think that's spot
I
on.
was trying to talk.
Football is a debate. It's a game of opinions, right?
Mhm.
You know, Seb and I disagree a lot, but it doesn't mean that we can't be friends about it and that we can't do it in a non-respectful way. And I think that applies for chat. So well said, Seb.
Yeah.
Well
That's
said.
3 times I've agreed with you tonight, by the way. Just for you know.
Wow, 3 times, Seb. Yeah. Wow, Seb and Dom
Yeah.
agreeing 3 times.
I'll take you out for a curry. We just have naan though, because I've been waiting all night for that.
You can have a kilo and nothing.
But guys, big up! Thanks so much for your time as well. To you guys on the panel and also to the chat. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. We're out of here, guys, and take care, everyone.
All you Reds, wrestle